I've tried to channel my inner French accent, but that would not go over well. My college French will not come back fast enough. So nice to meet you. Tell me your name.
My name is Elodie.
Elodie?
Yes.
Nice. I love it. Like melody, but
Yes,
melody.
yes.
Elodie.
I'm Arlette.
Arlette?
Arlette.
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 Of course, there's a TTE on there. Arlette. So do you don't pronounce the T, right?
Yeah.
If you do it right, Arlette.
Arlette, yeah. You don't
Arlette.
pronounce the E.
The last, the E, Arlette. That's true, because the E makes, I remember these rules. Arlette. Got it. Elodie, Arlette.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
A treat.
I'm excited. This has been long in coming. I feel like I've lived my whole career for this moment. How's that? Just to make it important. Kind of says a lot, huh? Yeah, I'll take it anywhere. I'll take it anywhere. Does Becky know we want to start? Yeah, exactly. I'll tell her. Oh, I need to tee up a different thing. Okay, so Shane, when I want to toggle back and forth, what was that?
I want to see the product you have, but I use them
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, of course. Shane, if I want to toggle back and forth between the PowerPoint and the video all the time, I want to toggle between video and PowerPoint. But it's not going to mess up whatever you just did, right? Okay. Oh, you already put me back to my PowerPoint.
Here's your smoothie. Sorry, it took a minute.
Don't even apologize. Of course. You're the hostess, for heaven's sakes. This is great. So Shane is ready to go live.
Okay. Okay, if you're ready to go live. Okay, we'll just snuggle
Oh,
up.
that's right. I have a thing on, don't I?
Okay, so for those who are here live, yeah, have a seat. Okay, we're gonna start. For those who are here live, just so you're aware, I'm very aware that to learn you need a lot of carbohydrates and protein. So I have a lot of food that we'll kind of move through, and graciously many of you have brought things, so thank you. We'll have some things down here, some foods upstairs. So Laura, feel free to break as much as you need to.
For sure. Okay.
So grab, feel free to get up, get a plate of something, get a drink. We have lots of drinks. The chocolate muffins that are upstairs that I think we brought them down are gluten-free. I have some blueberry muffins in the oven right now that are not gluten-free, but all still made with whole ingredients. We have some fresh fruits, I think, down here. Some smoothies I'll bring down. Of course, I'll bring down, in fact, I have them upstairs, but we didn't use them. I'll bring down your greens so you can mix your greens.
Nice.
We've got regular water, sparkling water, the poppy drinks. So lots of options for food and drinks. So please make yourself at home. Feed yourself throughout the day. We'll take breaks. Yeah.
Great.
We'll walk
Sounds
our
awesome.
talk here when it comes to
Sounds
wellness. Okay. Okay. Can I officially start now?
Do we have
Okay.
anybody in the kitchen we need to gather? Or is everyone down here?
So far, this is it.
Okay.
So other than Mike and Micah, who are upstairs dealing with my muffins. So, okay. We should have a lot more people here, though, because we had over 20 people registered to be here live. But we probably have, I don't know how many are watching, but there were over 100 people that signed up for the live stream.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
you've got your camera here to focus on as well. So a bit of an introduction for Laura. All of you know Laura, so there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
With
We know each
Laura
other.
is
Let's
and
go.
all of that. But I think before I edify Laura, I want to just edify what she's doing today. So we met yesterday to talk about the compensation plan and the changes. And thank you for bearing through that first dive into that conversation with me. And we talked about a bit of a shift in the way that we approach our business, not just from our compensation plan perspective, but from the mission is still the same, but the way we approach our mission, especially as it comes to foundational wellness. And so 16 years ago, coming up 17 years, can you believe that?
No.
Yeah, I feel a little bit old.
Shocking.
I know. And that we've been here. We started with this, teach everyone in the world about essential oils and essential oil 101 and essential oil medicine cabinet, this and that. But our conversation is different. Our conversation is meeting the world where it's at right now, which is teaching people just kind of the kindergarten steps of here's how you bring yourself to a space of wellness. Because I think even 16 years ago, we were just addressing more of like targeted issues, which oils took care of. But fast forward to the incredibly ill state that the world is in, with what is it, 60% of Americans having chronic disease, where we went from like 6% 30 years ago. Don't quote me on those statistics, but it's in that range, in that ballpark. So we've only gotten sicker over the last 16 years. And now we're not talking about targeted wellness as much as we're talking about let's just get ourselves to some kind of a baseline. And so Laura has spent countless hours, which we can all just thank her for a minute, for 16 years of education that we've had, from a corporate level to a team level to an individual level. Like, just pause for a minute and look back at your life and think of the ways that you have been blessed from the work of this woman. Honestly, like, just pause for a minute. And yeah, I mean, a huge thank you for, like, she needs to sleep more. I'm glad. I told her she wanted to start at 9 a.m. I'm like, are you kidding? You don't get until 12:30. I am making the decision. I'm not getting up for 9 a.m. if I have to pick you up and be there at 12:30. So she needs to sleep more. She works tirelessly, countless hours for this mission that she's felt compelled to bring to the world of a healer in every home. And now she's just got to get everyone well in every home. And so that is what she has for us today. When she said she had handouts, so I just have to like pick on you for a minute. She's like, I have some handouts. I'm like, okay, great. And she's like, I normally charge for them. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. I'll just print them for my guests, you know? And then we looked, and there's 26 pages in color, and it was $400 to print them for you. I'm like, maybe we're doing black and white, you know? Anyway, but just in typical like Laura fashion, there is so much to unpack in this meeting. You have a handout with 26 pages, and those of you who are watching online will have to order yours from her. She will sell them to you. So for good reason, because, you know, it's probably $20, $25 print job per person. So anyhow, but there's so much depth in what she has today. It's not just let's, you know, rah, feel better. She is really going to unpack wellness with you today for the next 8 hours. So for those of you online, you hopefully can sit with us and then come back to us as well. So anyway, thank you, Laura, for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you're about to deliver. We all need it, and what we need to do with it. And for everyone here, what you need to do with it is digest it, internalize it, put it into your own life so you make changes, and be prepared to open your mouth and talk about it. And that is what you need to do with today, is use it for yourself to feel better, and then turn around and deliver it. And don't be so selfish to just take it in today and not turn around and deliver it to your teams, and not have the courage to get up, even if you feel like you're not an expert on it and you're not Laura, to still get out in some form or fashion and speak and share, because the world needs you to help them to heal. Can I also just mention our podcast?
Yeah, do it.
So Laura and I decided in the summer to start a podcast called
Experience Wellness.
And we started recording episodes, and then life happened, and they are going to start posting probably right when you leave. Shane has them already.
Nice.
To go.
Thank you, Shane.
So we have some incredible podcasts that'll come up, and they are video podcasts on YouTube. And we have interviewed Dr. Osgood Thorpe and Dr. Riggs and
Alex DeBell, Emily
Wright. Actually, we did this cool episode with Emily Wright, where she really just like told the dirt on what goes on in the essential oil industry when it comes to sourcing and all of the corruption and the adulteration and things that she went through. It's really fascinating. So you're going to want to watch those episodes when they start popping, and share those. And they will be supportive of this, which is why I bring it up today. It's content that you'll have on YouTube that you can refer to that matches the messaging of what you're getting here, and will be easy for you if you get in a conversation with somebody and you starting to give the whys, and you can just share the podcast. And our very first one that is going live is on foundational wellness. That's the one he's got ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
So
do you get to be down
anyway.
here with us and someone else can cook?
yeah.
Okay, good. I'm like, I want Becky in the room. It's going to be
So-
important to have you here.
Okay. All right. So turning the time to you fully for the next
Thank you.
8 hours. The stage is yours. And we will again let us break for food. That's
Yes,
that's
for sure.
the brain needs it.
Gotta break
So,
for food,
Anyway,
so
there you go. Thank you,
thank
my
you.
friend, for being here. Thank you. Thank
for
you.
having me.
Okay.
This is a pleasure and an honor to
Yes.
be here. I'm excited to spend the day with you. We'll see what your endurance is, right?
Yeah, and we can have front row sitters on this sofa.
Yeah, it's actually
I'm ready
better
for front row.
energetically if we're not so spread out. This is actually kind of a fractured classroom. So if you'll move up closer, it'll actually help.
How many of you do want a cup of smoothie? Would like any you want some smoothie? And what about greens? Anybody want greens? Okay, I'll go bring those down.
I just
and
had my
I'll be here
VMJ.
for a bit. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. You guys want to move up closer? It actually changes your learning. The closer you sit, the more you learn. Did you know that? Because the energy is the freshest, the closest. So come closer.
Thumbs up.
Yes. Thank you for moving. It's great. Get that out of your way. Well, admittedly, having done this training multiple times, I'm used to a bunch of people in the room and we haven't really streamed it that much. So this is a very opposite experience for me. I'm used to a lot of interactions. So for those of you in the room, I'm counting on you, okay? Yeah, there's still plenty of room, so come on up. Come on up. All right. Well, now that we've made ourselves a family, cozied up, we'll stay warmer. It's awesome. So first and foremost, may I acknowledge Shane and Rebecca. They are such dear friends. I feel like we're family. I keep wondering if somewhere in our genealogy we're going to actually discover that there's blood between us, because it has felt that way. I've known, gosh, what year did I meet Becky? What year did we meet? She has a better memory than
Born 28 years ago.
28 years ago. Yeah, so it's kind of been a while, like half our lives. Exactly. One of these days, we got to do find relatives around me, see if we're related. I'm convinced we are. Because do you know how many times people accuse us of being the same person?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, we'll get said things about each other and we're like, well, you got the wrong girl. That's my friend Becky. So it's fun. I love it. So we didn't leave you a seat. You want to sit right here?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go grab some
More smoothies.
I'm
Okay.
just delivering all the
It's
things.
delicious.
Yes. So a big shout out to whoever is out there. I'm like, where's all my friends? Like Terry, Bernadette, Athena, like, where are you all? And I could go on and on and on with names. I don't mean to leave anyone out, but I see you. I see you. Yeah. Well, come to the house, people. So yeah, well, hopefully
The
they'll.
roads are good. They're clear.
Yeah, the roads are clear. Come on over anytime today. We'd love to have you. So first and foremost, a huge shout out to Shane and Rebecca. We would not be here without them, right? It takes one person saying yes to the message that you have. And we can't leave Connie out because she's in our sandwich, right? I introduced Connie to Shane and Rebecca to Connie. And Connie actually made the first phone call to Becky about doTERRA. So we got to include all of us. But it's amazing what can happen. Like when you look at the Hinsey team alone, you're looking at the population of a large city in America, right? We're talking about making a difference in a lot of lives. However, I believe we've just scratched the surface. I come to you fresh, very fresh, from the Founders Retreat. So I'm a founder 1.0. I was just a founder, and then all of a sudden they started attaching extra things to it, OG and 1.0 and all the things, right? Because once you have more, then you got to differentiate. So they get us together now every year. I think we've had our third Founders Retreat, second or third Founders Retreat, where all the originals and the 2.0s come together. And it's always on the tails of having gone to the Blue Diamond Presidential Diamond Summit. So we get to go there every year with the Hinseys and others. And that's where we're like the oldest kids in the family, where you're cutting your teeth on the big kids, right? And you're kind of trying stuff out. And so we had a really amazing experience in Tucson where we were really chewing on this elevation of the comp plan. That was the majority of our time together with some other things. And then going to the founders, it was fun to see the refinement that had come in literally just 1 month. It was really outstanding to see. I am so humbled by the love of our corporate people. And they're all human. Let me disclose that first. Okay, they're all human. They're flawed. I'm flawed. Okay, we're all flawed. And things aren't perfect. And we do get apology letters maybe once a month from something that didn't go right, or whatever. They're trying so hard. And the people who've worked specifically on the compensation plan, for example, countless hours over a good portion of this last year to really refine and come to a place. So there's much we can unpack together today. There's a lot of things that I can bring and share. I feel like I've got the compensation plan down for the most part. The new one, it's taken some practice and some relearning, but I'm feeling so confident. So right on the tails of 3 days of founders retreat, which was delightful. I also I'm a frontline leader to the Goddard team, right? Natalie recruited me. She was my client. And so she brought doTERRA into my life. And so they have, because a lot of us are OGs, then we were like, well, we're already all here in town. Let's get together. So we did a little gathering. And I have to tell you, yesterday I was quite humbled. I spent a lot. I was doing what they're doing. I was home watching or listening. Okay. There's times. And I was packing. And I was also paying really close attention. And, Seth Risenmay is not on the Goddard frontline, but he joined the meeting part of the time. And I was so humbled by my peers. So humbled to be around people whose hearts are in the right place. And so I come before you today very curated, very refined, having been in the rock tumbler maybe just a little bit earlier. And I come to you with tremendous confidence, and to see where our exposure to the comp plan maybe took a little bit of change is hard for people, right? Change is hard. And it was fun to watch my top performing peers process it and wrap their heads around it and give feedback to help the company refine it, to see that refinement, to see how the company is trying to achieve some very, very specific goals, and at the same time, hear us and make sure we're feeling safe and that we can move forward from here. So I come with tremendous confidence, tremendous humility, and tremendous gratitude to be in a community of people that are so tremendous. I mean, just the heart of where everyone was yesterday about what are we accomplishing with these compensation plan changes. The focus was entirely, for example, on how do we help people make more money? How do we help people get this message of health out more successfully? So I contemplated what I could share and bring to you by way of just a little yumminess from founders. And I had the privilege of being on the phone with Emily Wright and Natalie Goddard Monday night for about an hour and a half, and having a very oh my gosh, deep, abiding conversation. Again, I've been working with the two of them in doTERRA since August of 2008. And I just wanted to share a little bit of the energy of what Emily brought to the Founders Retreat right out of the gates. And one of the things that was important to address is that the company itself has evolved, right? It's evolved over. Hi there. Good morning. The company has evolved. Again, as Becky indicated, we're almost 17 years old. Okay. And have any of you worked in any kind of business or industry ever, or owned a business? Did anything stay the same for 17 years?
Not at all.
Did it even stay the same for a year? Right? So evolution in business is not only natural, it's vital, right? Because you have to respond to changes in the marketplace. Think about when doTERRA started, where were we with our use of the internet? Where were we with our use of social media? Do I need to say anything else? Where were we with commerce? My 31-year-old daughter said to me at Christmas time this year, she said, "Mom, I feel so bad for you. You didn't have Amazon for your kids' Christmas." And I had not really thought about it. I actually thought Christmas shopping was fun, and I loved hiding the gifts. And my husband and I were the best Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. We went all out for Christmas. We did the coolest stuff for our kids. So it was like an adventure for me. I'm like, I don't know if Amazon brought that same excitement, but whatever. But I just thought, how different. We're 30 years apart in age, and our perception, right? Her life is just click on Amazon. But all she's really saying to me is, you had to spend a ton of time doing what I did. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm shopping on Amazon, I can still spend hours, right? Looking around and reading reviews and comparing and I mean, what did we used to do? Get up at 5 a.m, go to Toys R Us on Black Friday? Do you remember those days, people? Right? So I bring to you a curated doTERRA, a curated owner, and I hope to capture just a little bit of her message. She spoke to us for about 30 minutes, and it was really wonderful. So she started out by sharing that 2024 had been a very hard year for her, and she was reflecting on being at the Founders Retreat only a year before. So 1 year ago in January, you may not remember, but that was when Corey Lindley resigned and decided to retire as our CEO. And so that suddenly upset the whole cart. And now it's like, now who's going to do what job? Because multiple owners had already started to step away and had replaced themselves, in certain roles. And so this, at the time she was president, would she be CEO, et cetera. Well, let's just say it wasn't smooth sailing from there. It was rough. It was very, very rough. And again, she went through one of the hardest seasons of her life. And so one of the things that we talked about with Natalie and Emily and myself is, let's ensure the family that mom and dad are still married and the family's still intact, okay? So I want to bring you the message that the owners have been through an incredible refining process. They are all speaking to one another. They get along. They are cohesive in their thinking. We are whole. We are safe. Our company is safe. Our company is whole. Drew Wolfert spoke to us, and he went through numbers, and he talked about cash on hand, and I don't remember all the terms, but just really helped reassure us of just how stable doTERRA is. Now, oftentimes people are like, oh, if you're having a compensation plan change, something must be wrong. But this is the message really that our whole day should be built on. This is the keystone of our conversation. doTERRA is looking ahead. If they leave things alone, just as is, we will likely pay a great price about 5 years down the road. And we will likely go the way of other companies in our industry. So what doTERRA is looking at is they're looking ahead at the next generation. So do you know, in tribes throughout the history of the world, do you know what a tribe would think of? That the livelihood of the next generation was what would keep the tribe alive. Do you realize that? Like, they would think about the kids, and that the elders would know if the kids didn't survive, they wouldn't. Okay, so every next generation had to not only survive but thrive, or the whole tribe would expire. We're really in the same boat. It's a universal law. It's an evergreen law. If doTERRA doesn't think about the next generations of leaders, then your paychecks, if that's what you're interested in, are built on the shoulders of the next generation engagement, right? So if you ever have hope to so-called build a business and retire from a business in doTERRA, then it's only going to work if the subsequent generations are thriving. Make sense? So they're very mindful of that. And so we're looking ahead to thriving. So they're making decisions now that, if they delay, would likely cost us the tribe. So if you look around in our industry, companies are falling left and right. Like, it's kind of a trend right now. And they're making really interesting decisions. The number one decision that they're making most of the time is to betray their distributors. Tupperware went down, y'all. Tupperware. Okay? So I'm here to tell you that doTERRA is not making those decisions. doTERRA will be the icon of this industry, perhaps to go down in history. Now, Amway's had that position the whole time. The whole time Amway's been in the number one slot, it feels like, forever, in my lifetime. But doTERRA is quickly rising because we're a model worth duplicating. We're a model worth duplicating. So I want to bring you Emily's heart and message. And so the first thing she brought to us is to assure us that we have safety and we have stability. This company is stable. This company has the right margins with monies. They're extremely financially stable. The leadership is stable. And that everything we're about right now is a forecast for moving forward to strengthen subsequent generations to ensure that we have the stability moving forward. Let me see if there's anything else here in my notes real quick that I wanted to be sure and cover. So after going through that, so she did go through with us some cycles, some really nice visuals on the typical lifespan of a network marketing company and how they will typically Actually, I'm going to save that because she actually shared that based on something that I shared with her, which I'm going to share with you. How's that for roundabout? So we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that when it's really poignant in our day and when it really, really fits. I'm excited to share that with you. So after really establishing where are we, we've got safety and security, then what are we doing? Like, so people will hear, oh my gosh, doTERRA let go of 277 people. In May of 2024, they did what's called a RIF, a reduction in workforce. So trimming is actually really a vital part of what a company does. So there was a reduction in workforce in Brazil of 80 personnel. The actual US budget was actually more than double the budget, for example, of Europe and what the company was running on there. It was fat, right? It was unnecessary. And so they're doing things consistently and constantly that are important. And so when a company is having one type of crazy hyper growth, right, and cash is just coming out the cracks of the doors, you make certain decisions. And then as things evolve, you make different decisions. So our own North American market has declined in sales. And so necessarily there needs to be a reflection of that in the reduction of workforce. So trimming is important. Now, when you look at our new compensation plan changes, then trimming might appear to be part of that plan. And in some ways that's true, but overall it's a plan of elevation. What I have come to appreciate so much today, having been through the BDPD summit and then the founders and then the post conversations, is just how brilliant these compensation plan changes are. So I just want to invite you to be in this warm energy of what we have right here. Look at us right here. This cozy couch setting with a fireplace in the Hinsey home. This is doTERRA right here. This is it. This is how we all started our businesses, right?
Yeah.
Friends and family. So if each of us will realize that the heart and soul of this business is each of us building a warm, cozy, what I like to call wellness community, to which we could call ourselves captain, simply because we're the gatherer, not because we're the genius, but we're the gatherer. Like, I chose to gather people, and let's be in a hug. I have a really incredible group of friends that we just talk to each other all the time. Like, we're wellnessing each, we're praying together, and we just take care of each other. And we do doTERRA together. We talk wellness solutions together. And it's important to have community. So if each of us will see ourselves, go back to your inception of your doTERRA business, think about going elite. Think about, if you strike a 200 PV average, you sign up 15 people, boom, you got yourself a wellness community. Or however many people it took, you got to elite. That's how you launched your wellness community, to which you quote unquote captain. And so what's really beneficial, if you'll continue to gather and love on and connect with those people, we call that things like continuing education, and ensure that those people are successful in the message that you offered in the first place. And then to do something like go silver in doTERRA, we invite you to simply teach 3 other people, or invite 3 other people to do what you just did. Create a wellness community. And then we invite 3 people to share with 3 people to do the same thing. And next thing you know, you're a doTERRA Platinum, do it with a 4th person, you're a Diamond, and so on and so forth. And to be a presidential, it's a community of community of community of communities. That's all it is in doTERRA. So I want you to really keep ourselves in the fact that the comp plan is going to encourage us to come back to our own, that new point systems and new reward structures will encourage us to take care of our own. And we've kind of gotten like opposite of that, where because people aren't taking care of their own, other people are taking care of other people's own, because other people are owning the comp plan structure more than somebody else, and it's kind of convoluted. So let's get back to doing what we do best, which is community. So I want to circle back with you later today on bringing some of those new compensation plan concepts to you. But what Emily did for us is she cast this vision of trimming here and trimming here is what's going to allow us to have a thriving tribe moving forward, not for 5, but 10, 15, 20 years. If Amway can last that long, do you think doTERRA can? They don't even have strong products, right? If they can do it, we can do it. And one of the things that they're so good at and that has created their longevity is personal development. And so if we can see this as well as an incredible place to become, right? And wellness is a great topic in which to encourage people to become. So she said the next generation is our future. And so that's one of the things that we're really, really focused on here. So I really loved her message. And she said at the end, she just said, this is ultimately about love. This is ultimately about love. And people are looking for natural ways like never before. And there was a consistent message from Kirk Jowers and a couple others, Drew, that because of the administration change, which I was like, wait, I planned a trip to be in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration. That's kind of cool. Although we're not going, and apparently not a lot of other people are either because the weather's going to be so cold. I feel sort of ceremonious about this passing of the baton, and that irregardless of your political alignments, that's not important for this point. And the point is this administration chooses to be friendly to wellness. And that is really friendly to our industry. And so we heard repeatedly about how we have a 4-year opportunity that is perhaps unmatched. So myself, as I contemplated this last year, where am I in my business? Where am I in what I'm doing? It wasn't actually until election night that it dawned on me, that very thing, that we were going to move into an era that was friendly to wellness. I thought this is perfect for our business. And the overwhelming epiphany that came to me is all the hard work that I had put in, all the things, even creating the program I'm going to teach you today. The overwhelming feeling was, you're ready. You're ready. So I hope to move into today with that readiness energy and to share with you and just to bring you the assurance of one of our owners and to really excite you about where we are and the stability that we really are in. So I want to just take you through a brief journey because I think it's important. Well, let me just be honest. Can I be honest? I've been doing doTERRA for a long time. I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching long before I started doTERRA. And I've been in front of a few audiences, just a few, okay? I have noticed audience attention span has declined, right? Now, what I love about all of you is every single one of you are giving me contact or eye contact. You're not on your phones. You're paying attention. I went to Minnesota and there was a room of about 30 people and we were together all day long. And I was stunned that I never once saw anybody on their phone because that's not the norm. Not one time did I see anybody pick up their phone. And by contrast, the number of times I've had questions come to me about things, I can tell who's not paying attention in class. It's very obvious to me because it's like, well, that was in the script, that was in the detail, that was in the handout, that was on the video. Did you watch it? No. Well, maybe you want to start there, right? So I invite you to pay attention in class, especially those who are online. I know how tempting it is. Again, I was packing yesterday, okay, but I packed about at 50% speed because I was very engaged in listening and participating in that meeting yesterday. It's very tempting to do something else. It is. But I'm going to tell you today, if you will dedicate yourselves, my online friends especially, to paying attention in class today. Like, I don't know about you, but I've been through a couple of doTERRA things, like Jumpstart, right? We just did Jumpstart, last week? And I found myself, it was live, but recorded live, whatever. So I was rewinding because there were certain things I wasn't grasping. And then there were PowerPoints to go unpack. So I'm watching something and I'm like, okay, if I don't pay close enough attention, I'm finding that it's taking me 2, 4, and 6 more hours to actually go and learn what I might have learned in that moment. So it's taking me 2, 4, 6 more amount of time to grasp something because I'm a great multitasker. So I know what it's like to pay half attention, okay, because I'm good at it. Until then, I'm not. It's my point. So I invite you to be here with me today. All here, grasp this to the best of your ability because you'll be able to stand on the shoulders of your experience and you'll be able to move forward much more quickly in ways that I hope I'm meeting you at your heart's desire. So just a little bit of a trace back. My own career in doTERRA is right at about 16 and a half years right now. My career in the wellness industry is right at about a 30-year mark, okay? So in the fall of 2023, late summer 2023, I found myself fading and feeling like we didn't have this, that we were on a slippery slope, that the messaging and what we were doing just wasn't working. And I had been in a number of meetings and I had inserted myself in a number of conversations with corporate people and saying, hello, what were our customer acquisition SKUs and our customer retention SKUs are not the same. There is a major disconnect here. In other words, what people are signing people up with is not what people are reordering. And it's why we don't have retention. Because if you look at what people want to order long-term, well, then you probably should start there. But what was happening is the number one acquisition SKUs were straight 10 oil packages. And those people weren't coming back for more products because they got a bottle of oregano and the thing stinks. And it's hot and it's weird and they're going to use it. They're going to run out of it in 5 years, right? Because they're only going to use it when they're desperate. So they're not going to reorder oregano next month. Even that amazing frankincense that they were taught about, that they're now dropping 2 drops under their tongue twice a day, 4 drops, 250 drops in a bottle. Maybe they were compliant and took it every day. Maybe they went through all their lemon. Okay, they really got into the idea of lemon. So they're going to reorder a lemon. Now, how's your business looking about right now? And more importantly, how's their health looking? So they're doing lemon. They're putting deep blue on when they got a headache or their knees like belly aching. But they don't use it all the time. They don't use it every day. So they're going to reorder it once a quarter. Are we really moving the needle of their life? And are we really moving the needle of your business? And now do you have solid LRPs in which you can be paid? And the answer is a crashing no. So now do you feel the heaviness of my heart late 2023? Like this isn't working. It's because I have something to contrast it with. I've been around since the beginning of doTERRA time. I've seen it be different. And so I'm feeling frustrated. So along comes a very simple 1-hour opportunity to sit at the feet of Eric Worre that Kyle and Kirsten Kirschbaum had arranged, and then Haley Hobson had arranged. Same speech. He gave it twice, and I listened to both of them. And he really struck my heart. He said some things. He reminded us that we had the unicorn company. Now, the guy's got to be Switzerland, right? He's getting paid by all these network marketers all over the place, so he can't say, your company is the best. But he might as well have darn well have said it. He was so edifying of doTERRA. And that in and of itself was a beautiful reminder. And then he said, look, in 2020, you either pivoted or you didn't. And if you were a restaurant owner, you're either still open or you're not. Either you figured it out or you didn't. And if you figured it out, you're still in business. And he said, at doTERRA, there are seats at the table and some of them are now empty. So I started thinking in my mind about all my peers and the people I've been on presidential trips with and all that. And I'm like, yeah, there's actually some people missing. the people at the table are changing and there's all these new leaders. And it was interesting to think, yeah, there actually has been a little bit of turnover. And who's a so-called top leader. And I love that he said, there are seats at this table and they are open for you. And the whole thing, the message was, can you pivot? And then he went into some numbers, and Becky's going to love this because she brought it up on a call lately. And it came, for me to hear her bring it up was like so full circle. I was like, boom. So he brought up, do you know how to get a company into momentum? And so he said, if you have this many leaders, or builders rather, not even leaders, if you have this many builders enrolling, then your company will be in momentum. So he went through all these numbers. If you have this kind of enrollment, and he went through these numbers, and it was actually quite simple. And it was a really small percentage of population that if this many people will continue to share and enroll, you'll be in momentum. Well, what was so great about doTERRA in 2013? Our team, the Brilliant Solutions Group team, which was a fraction of the size that it is now, we had a retreat. We had our first ever elite retreat at a cabin in early November of 2013. And by the end of that month, I remember all the rank celebrations in December of 2013. We had 30 new silvers on our team. There have been calls in the last 2 years where the company has had 30 silvers. So I've seen hyper growth. I know what it looks like, right? So I was so happy to just have Eric go and remind me what it took to be there. So that was the first thing that happened. And then I went to the rank retreat that the Goddards hosted the 2 days before convention. It was wonderful. And one new builder got up, leader, we'll call her a leader. She became a doTERRA Diamond and a Founder 2.0 somewhere between 3 and 6 months, which everyone's like, oh, one of those people, right? It just gets there like overnight. Like, what's wrong with the rest of us? Now, mind you, actually, so I was just with her. She happened to pass through the Goddard's house the other day, and she said, actually, it was built on 12 years. She came from another network marketing company. She was a top leader there, and she built what she did on top of 12 years of experience and contacts and people and her recruiting. So she says, be careful not to judge my situation because it was a complete crescendo to get her to the point where she could do that fast. But what was lovely about her story from stage was two things were my takeaway. One, when she came, her leader had come from the same network marketing company she'd been at, right? So they were both over here. They both come over to doTERRA. One recruits the other. And this gal, she was really fun how she teed it up. She said, yeah, I was ready to change companies and I just called up CEOs of all these other network companies. And because I was a top leader in mine, they took my call. And so she very distinctly interviewed these companies and came to decide doTERRA was her choice. Now that's a wonderful thing for all of us to hear. This is a girl who could have written her own ticket to whatever, and she chose doTERRA. And she said, I know what I was doing. I'm good at what I do. She says, but this is what I said to my new upline. Clearly you figured this out. Tell me what you're doing and I'm going to follow the patterns. She followed first. Instead of coming in all hot and whatever and saying, I got this, she followed, she learned, she followed the patterns. And then she shared with us what her pattern was. And I'm like, this is pipes. She doesn't know it, but it's pipes, right? And all of a sudden it was like, wake up call again, Laura. Like, she's doing what you did. And you've gotten away from the practice of what made this business great. So now I'm out of my funk. I'm woken up. I'm back to realizing just how good of a world I'm in with doTERRA. I see how someone else is making it work for them. That hypergrowth is possible even for new people in a company that's nearly 17 years old. I want you to remember that. Because even though I'm like waxed old and OG-esque, whatever that means, right? I can recruit somebody who brings in an entirely new community to which doTERRA is brand new. And that's exactly what she did. So she had hypergrowth. So I want you to know it's still possible depending on who and with whom they're sharing doTERRA. So I left there and I thought, all right, I'm going to get back to what I know to work in this business. And then something wonderful happened. doTERRA hired a doctor and I went into the meeting. Lauren Bush set us up to meet. And I'm just like, here we go again. Another employee, another ideas, another guy who's going to change things up. And we're just going to have whiplash again. And we're just going to start over. And I'm not up for this. So I'm just bracing myself, holding my breath. And about a half hour in, I'm like, oh, no, this is good. This is good. And I'm going to tell you that what happened in that moment is that he told me a story and he told me his turn. And this really, again, will be the crux for our day. It's a very important story. He was practicing functional medicine. Now, typically functional medicine doctors will start out as a chiropractor and then they'll add to their capacity. And so he had become a functional medicine doctor. He'd been practicing for a couple years. And he was serving a client for about 3 months, a patient, and he was very frustrated because the patient wasn't changing. Now, I don't know how many of you had a chance to read blood work. I've read a lot. This patient had 37 biomarkers out of range. Now, in all the blood work I've read, it's rare to see more than 5 that are out of range. I just want you to know how extreme 37 is, okay? So the guy's not getting better and this doctor throws his arms up and he's like, what the crap am I doing? He's like, I'm just chasing blood markers and this isn't working. So he thought, I'm not doing this anymore. So he changed his persona, not so much in the moment, but his shift was, I'm going to go from being a functional medicine doctor to a foundational medicine doctor. So he developed a program that was 90 to 120 days, and every patient started on that program, every single one. And the first person he cut his teeth on was Mr. 37 biomarkers, okay? So forget the chasing how do you chase 37 biomarkers? First of all, should I sell you a supplement for every 30? That's typically what happens in functional medicine is you're going to get sold a supplement for the biomarkers that are out of range. That is the methodology. And I ask you, how different is that than modern medicine and symptom chasing? And the answer is it's better, but it's kind of the same. And that's what he realized is I'm chasing biomarkers. So he puts the guy on the program, and somewhere between 90 and 120 days later, he now has only 13 biomarkers out of range. And every single one of those biomarkers, and again, I want you to hear this because it's everything. They were all associated with his raging alcoholism. So now what did we do? We cleared away all the fray, and now we're down to the real problem, okay? So it changed everything in his practice. And so this became his way of practicing. His specialty was Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroid stuff. And when a patient would come in and they'd be like, my thyroid, blah, blah, and they'd give their litany of things, he would say, appreciate it. We're actually not going to talk about it for 4 months. And he would never discuss the stuff. Now, right now, this is a huge moment in your wellness advocate career. I want you to take in a big breath, and I want you to exhale. We are not here to play doctor. We are not here to chase biomarkers, and we're not even here to chase symptoms. When you put people in the right direction with the right things, most things will go away all on their own. Now, how reassuring is that? How reassuring is that? That you don't have to like understand, you got Lou what? Lou Gehrig's what? You got what? Spondylosis? Wait, what? What's that? Like when people come to you with all these problems and you're like, over my head. I don't know what that is. And I don't know that I actually want to figure it out either, right? We're not here to be doctors. So he took that concept of what was working in his practice. His brother started a company. And from there, he helped to 10 times that company. So what's our takeaway? If we could come up with a way to do foundational wellness versus functional wellness, I want you to hear me, could we 10 times our business? And the answer is emphatically yes. Anybody want to 10 times your business?
Yes.
Now, there's a book called 10 times is better than 2 times. Now, here's the idea. If I'm like, okay, is everybody willing to double their business right now? Can you commit to like 2 times in your team volume? Yeah? $10, this is going to be your method. I'm just going to double down. I'm going to have twice as many classes. I'm going to get on twice as many one-on-one calls. I'm going to enroll twice as many people. And I'm going to tell my people to do the same thing. Now, it sounds strategic. But do you know what half of yourself is thinking about? Your life. It's going to take twice as much time. It's going to be hard. And so if your only method for growing is just doubling down to 2 times, it's actually not good enough. So what the authors of 10x is better than 2x say, Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan say, is you can't 10 times doing what you're doing right now. It's impossible. The only way to 10 times your business is to do something radically different. So I'm going to bring you radically different today. And I'm going to give you a lot of evidence as to why this is important. All right. So in that conversation, all of a sudden, so then we got to chatting. And as he shared with me what his 90-day program was, I'm like, this is the 30-day program and we have in doTERRA. So a lot of you may not know this, but I actually, per the request of Rob Young, built the Cleanse and Restore program in 2014. We tweaked it slightly a couple of years later by adding DDR, but it has remained the same. It is a proven, evergreen, non-expiring program. But what I did is I built it in 3 phases for a reason. You know, it's a school of hard knocks to be a practitioner, especially a new one who's naive. And there's nothing worse than getting those phone calls when you put somebody on a program and they're excited and you're excited and they're like, I have diarrhea. I don't feel good. I have a headache. I don't like your stuff. Can I return it? Right? That's the school of hard knocks. Because you're like, something didn't go right here. So you learn over and over again that you probably shouldn't put people on a cleanse right out the gates, because maybe you should make sure they're pooping. It's just an idea. Because if something like candida or parasites or goodness knows what starts leaving their body all on its own and there's no way to get out, guess what's going to happen? A lot of things are going to happen. Anything from diarrhea to a crazy skin eruption. I'll never forget Jerry's aunt, one of his bazillion aunts. She went on a program and she called me up and she had these gigantic sores on her feet. I'm like, what the crap? Like, nobody ever gets sores from our products, for heaven's sakes. I think she was on oregano. Well, it was the first time I really learned the power of caffeine. Did you know that caffeine is a major complicator to detoxification? And usually the worst phone calls I'll get are people who are consuming high levels of caffeine because it actually shuts down liver detoxification. It's so competitive with cleansing. So having gone through the school of hard knocks, I designed Cleanse and Restore to ensure that the first 10 days made sure your body was humming and running before we went into GX Assist and before we went into DDR in the 2nd and 3rd phase. So in talking to him about his 90-day program, I'm like, it's the same exact concept. It's the same principles. It's just spread out over 90 days. And he said to me, you need more than 30 days. People need 90. You need to do your phases longer. And that is when the 90-day reset was born. And so we tossed things in the tumbler. He didn't get our products. He was brand new. He told me some principles that he thought were important. And again, they were very aligned with what we were already doing. And so we mulled over the products and how this program should go. And I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, with my practitioner experience, which is extensive, I probably built about 20,000 protocols for different people over the last 30 years. So I've seen what works. It was not hard to figure out what doTERRA products do what. Like, how many enzyme products do we have? One. How many probiotic products do we have? Two. Okay, so it's not hard to choose. How many detoxification blends do we have? We can count two, right? 2 endocrines, right? So it wasn't hard to choose my players for the basketball team, but how they were wired together and how, when they came into a person's life. So for me, it was a get out of jail moment. And I'll tell you why. In our business, up to 6 months before this, we were kit based, were we not? You start somebody with a kit. So I had built my previous 90-day program around kits to work with the kit. So was it exactly what I wanted? No, but it was good enough. And I was still hitting cleanse and restore in month 2. And I was happy about that. But this was a whole new ballgame because I made one major switch that changed everything. And it's endocrine complex. Because endocrine complex wasn't showing up until month 2. And it was part of the whole 30-day cleanse, but it was part of what you had to start the person with for 10 days to make sure, again, they were humming and running. So when we moved endocrine complex by itself up into month 1, it's been a massive game changer. And I'm excited to teach you more and share more with you today about that and how critical that has become. So I just want to express my gratitude, most especially to the divine guidance that answers prayers. And that all the wrestling, all the pleading, all the like, there's gaps here, something's got to work better, that those have been answered. And I feel like we have the most natural, wonderful way to use the products that we have in a way that's working for most people. Now, you always have exceptions, right? Sorry, my clip is like pulling my hair and it hurts. You always have exceptions where people have exceptional health problems. Okay, so I always say that my career, the first however many years, I was the 20%er. People came to me with the wonky stuff, right? And I was usually their last resort. They'd been through the regular system, nobody would help them. And I would always get what I call the medical rejects, that nobody could help otherwise. Now I feel like I'm in the 80%er, that if we can teach people to do their work at home, that I don't have to be a 20%er. Because just like the story, 37 biomarkers down to 13, do the math. How many biomarkers is that? 24 biomarkers going into range doing foundational wellness. That's what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about moving the needle in a mass amount of people's lives rather than the need to be specializing in solving all the markers, right? So many practices, natural or medical, are chasing up here. So we have the ability to come in a very different place in people's lives and offer them a different kind of solution. So that was the birth. So creating it wasn't hard. It was very much a no-brainer. I want to share with you what some of my goals were, because I think it's important to put ourselves at ease and to understand what's primary in this business. One, this needed to be easy to invite to. It needed to be easy to learn and easy to teach. It needed to be concise and precise. I had to check all the boxes of all the things you're expected to do as a wellness advocate to accomplish a good close in a class. It needed to be something where you could rapidly gain confidence in the messaging. It needed to be easy to enroll, not just for the first month, for the first time, but for subsequent orders. That was critical for me. It needed to be easy, therefore, to get people on loyalty rewards, which does everyone know we now have a rewards program? So why have we dumped the word loyalty? We're going to have a commercial break. Why do we no longer have loyalty rewards? What's the orientation of the word loyalty? Who are we being loyal to? doTERRA. Technically, if you're loyal to us and you order from us every month, we're going to bless you with a gift. Do you see how the orientation's slightly off? Yeah. So they've wanted to dump the word for a while, and they finally just ripped the Band-Aid off. You're seeing a lot of Band-Aid ripping right now. Okay, just doTERRA's like correct. They're right sizing and right citing a lot of things. So I actually got one of these at the Founders Retreat. So here's the official branding. It's doTERRA Rewards with the O. Okay, so it's O rewards, doTERRA rewards, or rewards. You choose what you want to say. But if you find yourself saying LRP, just practice dumping that. It's now just rewards. Okay, And one of the things too is what the crap, sorry for my language, but I'm trying to be emphatic here, right? What the crap is LRP? Like if you're a new customer, like, huh?
Yeah,
So all this acronymic language is like, you're talking like an insider. Like I have a real trigger point. Then when I'm around people who belong to my own church, but we're in a classroom and they're talking like an insider and they're not real, like there's other people in the room who don't go to church. They don't have a clue what you're talking about, right? So our insider language is not kind. Like what's an elite? I don't know and I don't care is what an outsider. What's a silver? I don't know and I don't care. It's just some MLM-y thing. So we're really working on reorienting ourselves around what people really care about and to care about rewards. So I won't go into all the details until later because I have a handout for you about the changes in this program that I'm super excited about. But check this out. If you place, I'm going to show you, if your first loyalty rewards order is 100 PV or more, now put yourself in a classroom or a presentation or a one-on-one setting and you're just trying to get someone to 100 PV. How does that feel? I'm trying to upsell you and upsell you and upsell you because I need you to hit 100. I'm going to throw a little carrot. Would you like to have a presentation where people are like eating out of your hands and like they're spending 250 PV? Like, why are we groveling? Okay, so we're going to work on not having those kind of scenarios. But this is sweet. Okay, look what's in here. Sorry. I actually have not opened it, tell you. Okay, check this out. PB Assist, sample. Toothpaste, sample. Recharge. Yes, Shane, he was coaching me last night about how to fly across the world well. He said recharge, recharge, recharge. So there's a recharge. 2 oils, adaptive and serenity. Now, do people feel something when they use these oils? Possibly even the first time. See, these are all like things they can feel something in the first time. A cute little sticker. And just so I don't forget, they were handing these out at Founders. So I asked if I could take a bunch. So I brought them for you. Those are for you to take. You can each have one. And then a deep blue packet. Is that not brilliant? Now that is marketing at its best. It's called experiential marketing. So that is what your customers get.
Well, yeah, that's what I think you get.
Do you know how much money they just saved us? Because to buy all those products, separate them, repackage them, ship them. It's why we don't do it because it's not. And then I want you to bring in your new builder and you're like, you're going to buy all this stuff and you're going to package it. Oh my gosh, no. Please no. So as Natalie, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So,
So, Laura,
yes, ma'am.
I mentioned last night when we did compensation that was getting, that's what you get when you enroll. But after the year mark, when you hit the 30%, they get a gift. Do you know what's in that? Because I did not.
Yes. Yes.
What about the pouch?
Yes, it's a little zipper pouch. You know those kind of that fabric that's waterproof? Yeah, it's not neoprene. It's not the squishy stuff.
You may want to repeat what I said on that so that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so after the 12 months. Yeah.
And we're gonna get to a point today where I actually have 2 flyers for you, and I'm gonna go through all these pieces with you when you have something in front of you, so it's not like trying to track what Laura's saying. I'll go through all the rewards with you, but actually that's the one thing I actually don't have pictured because it just doesn't fit what we're talking about. So when you hit VIP status, you've hit your 30% mark, which means you stuck with your rewards program for 13 months. You're now VIP. You'll actually get extra perks. Certain specials will come to you first. So you'll get treated like a VIP. But the first thing you're going to get in the mail is this cool bag. It's about this size. It's this exact same color. It has the rewards branding on it, and it's a little gift. And there is nothing in it. It's empty, but it's fun. It's just like a little travel thing that gets our branding on it. So those are the 2 new gifts. There is a third. Yes.
I'll speak loud for the audience.
Thank you, Athena.
I have a big mouth. So you said 13 months, but I thought if people sign up for LRP when they enroll,
They do, yeah. They get started early.
They start on their enrollment month with the 10%.
Correct. And then you just have to go through the 3-month cycle, right?
So does it shorten period to 12 months then? To get to
The math has always been 13, but maybe it's because I've been including that enrollment month. So maybe it is 12. If you speed the process up and you make that first enrollment order, a rewards order, yes, sure. However, Shane.
It doesn't matter how loud she speaks.
It still didn't translate. Okay, so she's doing math. as I would expect, nothing less from Athena. She's getting exacting with me. And to her point, if I just simply get the person's first month on LRP/rewards order in their first order, then they get points earlier and they're growing themselves in the program sooner. I will teach you, however, that it's to your disadvantage to start that on their first month, because there's a 12-month cycle now coming with the new comp plan that you're going to be appreciating the 12-month cycle outside of their enrollment month. Just saying. You can decide for yourself. I think it's so much to say. If I don't really have control of the enrollment process, and the back office has to graduate itself to making this easy, if I got to tell you, if you sign up, you're going to get free shipping, and then you're going to get free this, and then you're going to get free this, and you're going to get, by the time I'm done, I've got 17 free things. And by the way, we need to turn your order into a rewards order. It's so much. It's so much. So anyways, you can decide that process for yourself. Okay, that's our commercial break. All right, so we're back to what needs to be accomplished through this presentation. Easy to invite, easy to learn and teach, concise and precise, easy to get confidence in the messaging, easy to enroll, not only the first month, but into subsequent months, to get people into rewards orders. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I am grateful for interactions. For whatever reason, here, there, anywhere, I just happen to be around wellness advocates and I get to hear talk. So I was on a call for, I don't remember what we were doing. And I was kind of like bringing it out on the acquisition retention thing. And honestly, I was bringing it out for the umpteenth time because I still hadn't felt like corporate had caught the drift. They were just still acquiescing certain people to, well, people are enrolling people in their really high SKU, so why would we disrupt that? And I kept saying, because it's not working for retention. That's why you would disrupt it. Because don't you want people to have a long-term win, not a short-term win? So on this call, I'm just saying it again. And sure enough, the corporate person's like, you're on it, Laura. You nailed everything on my whiteboard. So I'm like, whew, we got to switch, right? And then I heard my peers on the call, 2 of the top Founder 2.0s. And they said, we hear you too, Laura. And here's our problem. And again, I want you to hear me on this. This is super important. One is a really big online builder, and one is a really big boots on the ground builder. And they had developed their own methods of doing their thing. And one had just recently sent a survey out to her builders. And the survey was, why are you not duplicating? Why are you not growing? Why are you not going out and presenting and teaching? And you know what the number one answer was? They didn't have confidence in what they were messaging. Now, this team had chosen to do something quite unusual. They were actually selling supplements. So their first kit, and we're going to talk about it again here in a minute, their first kit that they had put together, it wasn't a standard doTERRA kit. It wasn't below wholesale. But what they were selling, it seems good at face value. You're like, that sounds like a really good kit. Their people didn't understand what they were selling, so they weren't selling it. So that was her team's problem. Our people don't feel strong. And so she said, I just find they're acquiescing to just selling oils again. And now we're back to problem A. The other team, she just said, same thing. We don't know how to, this company, we don't know what we're doing. All we know how to do is to sell oils. So you're right about retention, but we actually don't know how to sell it. Okay, you see the problem? It's just one thing. It's product knowledge. However, should you have to go to school and get a degree to sell our product? The answer is no, that's not helpful. So somehow we have to solve that problem, but in a way that's highly effective and you get done quickly. Now, our products, also the product choices in this program. So as I'm going through, I'm deciding how do we build this? They had to work. I want you to hear this. This program has to work whether the wellness advocate or the customer actually get it. It has to work whether they understand it or not. They just have to appreciate the nuts and bolts of it. They don't have to like unpack every product. It doesn't have to be that hard. But if it doesn't work and we don't have results, we're dead in the water, okay? We're dead in the water. We have to have results. The products needed to make sense so that when the audience, the prospect, or even an existing customer hearing this, they have to be like, oh my gosh, that's a no-brainer. Because the minute it's a no-brainer, guess what you don't have anymore? You don't have a price barrier. They're like, just sign me up, I want to do this. This makes total sense to me. And then also for our wellness advocates, I want to make sure you're hitting your numbers. I want to make sure you're getting retention. I want to make sure it's easy to duplicate. I want to make sure it's easy for you to recruit. I wanted to go back to the fact that we used to get people to elite in 15 enrollments, not 40. So these were all things that had to be considered in order for this to be useful. And most importantly, it had to be something that the customer can grasp and want to do and will stick with. Because if the customer doesn't get it, they're not going to do it. Okay, so these were some of the parameters of what was important for this. So went on to go ahead and build the program, finish it. So first we started with the framework, weighed in with a bunch of wellness advocates to get everybody's input, came up with it, built it, and released it in April. So do y'all know what the diffusion of innovation is? It's a technology term. How many of you have the latest and greatest iPhone? Like, I don't know what it is, 16, 17, where are we now? Anybody in here have a 16? Shane, do you have a 16? He's like our most tech savvy person, okay? How many of you have like an 11 or 12? How many of you don't even know what you have? How many use an Android, right? So the point is that very few people jump into something first, and then when people are like, oh, they've proven to me that it's cool. So those are your innovators. Then you have your early adopters, and then you have what's called your early majority. Now, a lot of people think doTERRA isn't an early majority audience, which could be universally true, but it really depends on what pocket of people you're in, right? So with that in mind, I want you to consider that I had some innovators with this program. I had some people who were willing to run with it without anyone else proving that it was good. Okay, so one of those people is Rachel Lynch. Rachel Lynch is a blue diamond on my team. She's about 7 levels down from me. She was already a blue diamond doing this. She's been doing Zyto scanning and this program. So the Zyto scanning gets her in the door. It helps people see that they have some gaps, so now they're leaning in, and then she offers the 90-day program. On our team call a couple Mondays ago, Rachel had 34 new loyalty rewards orders, now called rewards orders, in December. Anybody interested? 34 new rewards orders in December doing this program. Now, her first candidate was her own mother. Her mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I could go into the details on that and tell you the whole journey, and it was pretty dicey and slicey, but her mom is alive today. Her mom was given 6 months to live, and what was going to buy her maybe a year was a whole chemical onslaught of discomfort that would have compromised her quality of life, and they gave it a hard no, and they walked out the door, and her daughter, who's not a medical expert, who's not a wellness expert, but has belief as her number one strength, believed she could help her mom. So she put her on the program. There's other things to it like diet and whatnot, but she put her on the program. Within a month or two, her mom felt better than she'd felt in 20 years. Next story. She calls me up in about June this year. She said, Laura, I am driving to the home of a man who got his adrenal glands out about 6 or 7 months ago. His cortisol levels were too high. Now, how many of you think it's a great idea because your cortisol is elevated that you're going to have your adrenal glands removed? In what world does that make sense? No. I can't find a single one. But he said yes because he believed those who were encouraging him. Well, I'm sorry to report that he was immediately laid out, flattened, could not function. He's not that old. He's in his late 30s, early 40s, if I remember right. He can no longer support his family. He can no longer work. So here we are 6 or 7 months later, and she's driving to his home. And again, this is not a girl who had a practice for 30 years like myself, okay? This is a girl who's a doTERRA wellness advocate who believes in what she's doing. What did Emily ask us? Do you believe in what you're doing? So with that belief and the trust of her little Zyto scanner, she goes over to his house, and of course his organs looked crummy, and she suggested this 90-day program. Within a few days, he was back to work. The report today is he has finished all 3 months. He works 5 days a week, and he loves our product so much that not only is he on the basic foundational wellness program of VMG, E Omega, and PB Restore, but he now loves our collagen. He loves endocrine complex and a couple other products I can't remember off the top of my head. And guess what his rewards order is every month now? 300 PV. Now, as you understand the compensation plan, you're going to be like, this is all starting to make a lot of sense. Now, did we force feed this guy these products? Did we have to compel him and convince him to hit a 100 PV marker? Do you see what I'm talking about? When you offer people something that makes sense and it's logical in their heads and they see what I's you're dotting and the T's you're crossing in their health, they not only do you get adoption, not only did he stick to the program, but he sold himself on where he is now. I want your collagen. I love it. It works for me. He's choosing his loyalty. Somebody's not calling him up at the end of the month saying, I'm not going to get my power of 3 because you didn't order enough product. And I'm wondering if either you would please order more for me or if I could top off on your account. Like, who wants that business? And these are the things that the new compensation plan are set to change. This is the change in our business we need. We want people to want this and love it and have it make sense for them. A lot of you know, let me tell you one more story with Rachel. She had a young woman who had had cancer 5 years before, had gone through the modern approach route, all the things you would expect, the chemo and the radiation. 5 years later, she's not had a single period. So probably some sort of female cancer. I don't know. She didn't specify. So 5 years later, no menstruation. She's still in her 20s. She wants to have kids. Is it possible to get pregnant if you're not menstruating? She'd done the math. So that was her hope. So what did Rachel do? Who's not a medical expert or a practitioner or a functional medicine doctor? She put her on the 90-day program. And because we teach you how to just simply add a few targeted support items, she added clary, sage, and thyme. And within 1 month, that woman had her first period in 5 years. Okay? I'm going to read you. So Leanne up in Canada, she's on our calls every week. She had a young woman that she met at a booth, right? She does booths a lot. And she shared this program with a young woman who said yes. And she said, I had a young Mexican Mennonite woman do 2 months of month 1, and she just started month 2. It's the first time she's pooped normal in 10 years and has started having normal menstrual cycle. This has never happened, and no migraines in these 3 months now. I was in tears when I did her next scan, and she's only 20. Okay, so y'all know Amy Willett, right? She's on the Hinsey team. And Amy, she would be the first to tell you she kind of waxed cold in her doTERRA business for a number of things. And she chose to re-engage. And one of the things she re-engaged with was the 90-day program. And so when the new comp plan came out and the new Boost Your Business promo, and you can earn this boost right now with your Power 3 in February and March, Amy's like, I've got it, Laura. I'm already in the numbers game because I've been doing the 90-day program, because I'm getting the rewards numbers. I'm getting them naturally. I'm not panicking. I'm not, desperate, because by doing this, I have the numbers. Now, she has a guy, a customer that she's been working with, and his PSA, do y'all know what a PSA is? It's the score for a man's prostate health. And 4 is normal. This in range is 4. This man's was 14. That's pretty much equals prostate cancer kind of a thing. Like they were going to send him in for a biopsy. So we didn't address that really. We just put him on the program. She called me up again like, Laura, what do you do with someone like this? And I'm like, you put him on the program, right? And then we just added, gosh, same thing as the other gal, clary, sage, and thyme. Within 1 month, his PSA dropped to 11. 1 month, okay? And then Amy gave me this quote as well from another person that she had helped. A woman who was sure her digestive system was so bad, she thought she'd have to go to a gastrointestinal doctor. After 30 days, she was so shocked in the shifts that she has now completed her 90 days and has continued to maintain her foundational wellness. She just helped her 24-year-old daughter now through the program as well. So then sharing becomes natural, okay? So I want to explain Athena.
I actually have a local happy story.
Great. Tell us about it.
I don't know if they'll hear it there on your mic.
Well, come stand by me, so then I don't have to repeat it.
Yeah.
To see you. That was my way of getting a hug from you. Okay.
So one of my team members who's not really been active had decided to start sharing with some of her Latino community. And we worked really hard, taught a class in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I'm studying Duolingo now. I'm almost to 14. Right. And one of the women locally, who she works with, a caregiver for elderly people locally, said yes to wanting to learn more. Now, mind you, there's a language barrier. She has very limited income. She rents a space in someone else's home, and she has thyroid issues, diabetes, works really hard, but also has been cleaning home. So exposure to a lot of toxins, a stressful life, trying to support her family back home in Latin America. This woman with a limited income and realizing she doesn't have a lot of access to medical care said yes when I said, look, I don't really want to know what's wrong with you, but I want you to try this program and let's see where you are at the end. She was scheduled to take some labs, and let's see what your labs look like the next time. I'm just so proud of her because she is on phase 3 now and she loves it. She feels great. We're laughing about her bowel movements.
We've normalized talking about poop, right?
Yes. And, you know, it's just such a testament to this program and to all the thoughtfulness you put into it, that it's giving somebody quality of life when they have very few resources in their range of ability. So it's for everyone. You know, if it's important to you, you'll make it happen to really feel better in the end. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. You know, Athena brings up the example of people can't afford not to. You know, in Chinese philosophy, they have what's called the bagua. Chinese medicine is pretty profound if you've ever studied it. And in the center of this bagua is your health. And then all the other aspects of your life surround that. And they say, if you don't have your health, you really don't have your life. And so often people are, even my own stepmother-in-law called me up the other day. They're selling their home and now they need a $10,000 HC, heating, cooling system upgrade on their current home in order to sell it. You know, 10 grand for a retired couple. She's fanning herself, right? She's like, because I had just got her on month 2. I was so excited she was sticking with us, right? And she's like, I'm going to have to, she wrote me this big, long, apologetic text, like, I'm going to have to cancel my order. And I'm like, hey, it's totally on you. Like, if you want to kick your own health down the road, that's on you. And I get it. Like, life happens. Like, whenever you want to get back to yourself and your health, then that's your decision. So next thing I know, a couple of days later, she's kind of like, screw it, I'm going to do this anyways. So then she's like, we're having to put her whole order back together. And it was funny to me. But she's been my stepmother-in-law for 37 and a half years. Okay. She was into health when I was into health early, but I've just sort of watched her prioritize so many other things. You know, her husband's health is more important or whatever. And I was so proud of her for making this decision. But I want you to know where I started her. I had her watch the class. And I know it's the difference. It wasn't just me yabbering in her ear a couple sentences and hoping she would believe me. She's watched the class. And so I've seen her respond differently because she has more information to make better decisions. So oftentimes we can't afford not to, because the cost that our health is to the rest of our life is so profound.
You say it all the time. Health is wealth.
It is. Health is wealth. It is. It's true. All right. So the program was born officially in April of this year. Again, I'm grateful to people like Rachel and Leanne and Amy who were innovators, and they're out there doing it. And now we've got more of an early adopter population, Athena and others who are out there. And hey, you have to prove what you have, right? So it's been really fun to be in this proving ground. I mean, from all the knowledge that I have, not only of how to do health, but also how to do doTERRA products, I was very confident that what we had would work, but you still got to prove it. And so here we are now. We're in January of 25. I feel very different than I did in August of 23, especially with the release of these products. It's been outstanding to see what a difference these new products, especially with the VMG and the E-Omega, what they've done for our business. The statistics with doTERRA right now, our sales are up. And again, I won't take the time to dig out my slides and try to tell you all the numbers that Drew gave us. I'm sure you'll hear those at leadership. They'll be sure to share them with you. But the business is booming. So in the numbers world, this is the one statistic I can share with you. To move the needle on an average order size for doTERRA, think about the hundreds of thousands and millions of orders that doTERRA is processing. So we're talking averages. And I think I heard through the conversations that the average order is 60 to 70 PV, because you got people buying 10 and you got people buying 500, right? So I think the average is somewhere around 60 to 70. Do you know the average order has gone up by $7 since the release of the convention products? And in the world of statistics, that's staggering. So we are going in the right direction, okay? So I come before you today sharing with you the founders and the comp plan changes and the product changes and the upswing in our numbers here in North America. Things are really, really, really good. And again, that number that Becky and I both were like, wait, what? And the number was that if you could get 1.25% of builders enrolling 10 or more people in a year, you would put your business back into momentum. Okay, hear me again. 1.25% of builders enrolling 10 or more people in a year, you could put your business back into momentum. 1.25%. That's staggering. That's such good news. And so what's tempting then is to think about builder, right? Like I'm going to work on builders and I'm going to tell people to enroll and da. So all these things are swirling around. I'm hearing all this yummy stuff, but not once anywhere was there actually a presentation. Now, let's go back to the old days. For those of us who've been around for a while, we had one class. Let me repeat that. We had one class. Okay, did I have to train people on 25 different ways to sign people up? Thank goodness, no. I mean, now it's like, I don't know, 31 flavors. I don't even know how to train anyone anymore, right? It's too much. We had one single way that we would introduce. Now, do people get creative from there? You bet they do. And that's fun and that's great. But from a training perspective, 31 flavors, picture yourself as a new builder. It's too hard. You can't see yourself in it. And what you really generally want to sell is what you experienced, right? So if you want to go 31 flavors, go all out. Go all out in continuing ed. Go all out in social media posts. Go all out in sharing. There's so many places to share your 31 flavors of doTERRA, even just in conversation. And you're going to have people, oh, my knees, and you're going to say deep blue, and my sleep, and you're going to say serenity. There's places for that. But when it comes to a system of building, when you don't have your messaging tight, you don't have a tight business. So ironically for me, in sitting through all of this yumminess, I'm like, there is a gaping hole in this entire system, and it's a class. And now came back that epiphany for me on election night. You got this. You are prepared. You have a class. So I'm here to share that with you today. Now, just to put a nail in the first chapter of our conversation today, I want to share two last things with you. One is a 3-minute video, and I'm going to tee it up here. It's going to take me just a split sec to bring it up. Okay, here we go. Looks like it's 4.
A couple of thoughts, a little bit. I think in the world of network marketing, the cycle is the same, meaning that companies come out the gate, they have rapid growth, and then comes the struggle, and then becomes a stronger and stronger focus on the business opportunity. Meaning a lot of companies will graduate to that point where things get tougher, and then the field becomes more and more focused on selling the business opportunity, and then that leads to disappointment in the field, and then you end up with an unstable opportunity. And so I think, and we've watched this with lots of companies like Zango and Amway and a number of companies that have built under that focus. And so my thought is we want to keep doTERRA on the pathway of offering a really strong value proposition to its customers, because ultimately that's what gives the field traction. And the reason our field is struggling to build is because of the word traction. It's because they go out and they put effort into it, and then they don't get the expected return from that. And so then they choose to do other things. And when you're promoting a product that has intense competition in the field, then it becomes very difficult to build. It won't matter what we do to the comp plan. It won't matter what we do to anything if people can't sell the product itself. And so one of the areas that I've been doing personally is getting really solid back to listening to people's problems and presenting doTERRA as a solution. And I'm trying to strengthen that aspect. And I think that's why we're seeing results with Zyto, because that ultimately is what it's doing, is setting the stage for someone to recognize their problem and that they have a solution. Because once somebody knows they can solve a problem, then the price barriers start going away. And then it just becomes a conversation of, is this a better solution than I have available through Costco? And right now, that's the debate that goes on. We have established leaders that are dropping certain healthcare products from doTERRA because they feel they can get a good enough solution through a number of other sources. And fundamentally, that will come back to what the problem ultimately is that needs to be presented against, or we need better language for stronger value proposition. We need better sales processes that set people up to understand the solution better. Because I can tell you, as soon as the field gets traction, as soon as they present and people buy, then all these problems go away. And if you want a really good illustration of that, on Netflix, there's a documentary on LuLaRoe, and it goes through that whole rapid life cycle that happens. So when people came in, they got traction, they built phenomenally, budgets became they didn't need budget anymore. There was so much cash flowing, so much sales, and then hit the market. Then the market reality slept in. People had more and more difficulty selling the product, and then the opportunity started letting people down, and then off it went until the company itself went out of business because they ultimately didn't adjust their product lines to fit their new realities. And doTERRA is doing a really good job of that. We have a massive departments that are focused on that area, and so they keep innovating and keep delivering us top rate products. But I think the breakdown has come where they're not teaching us how to market the new products. They're shifting out of them too fast before we know how to communicate them, or we can get that communication.
So it's a breakdown in messaging. Do you hear that? Like, this is one of the most profound 4 minutes of a network marketing career. This is why these companies come and go right here. So he said some crucial things. If you can create an environment in which people see that they have a gap and that you have a solution and it makes sense. Now, he did bring up, he said, fierce or intense competition in the field. Now, we use the word field. That could be confusing. What he really meant was fierce and intense competition in the marketplace. How many people do you think are already on a multivitamin? Just a couple. How many people do you think are taking an omega? Do you know how many people take a probiotic? 35%. Really? Okay, so if probiotics are that in, don't you think an omega would be about that same popularity, let alone a multivitamin? So now you're going to go out and sell a foundational wellness bundle that's a multivitamin, omega, and a probiotic? What's unique about that? So if you're just going head to head on multivitamin, omega, and probiotic, you are in an intense, fierce competition. And if that's all your message is, then that person is going to sit with you and be like, well, I already got a multivitamin, I already got an omega, and I already got a probiotic, or I got one of them, so now I don't want your bundle. I only want the one I don't have. And your sales process is dead in the water because that's not a message. But if your message is so strong and it's way above and beyond product, and it is a program, and they recognize that each player in the program has a role, they can't swap things in and out. They need your program. Do you see the difference? Mm-hmm. So one, you must have a step he identified so keenly where the problems for the persons have to become aware. Like, what are their gaps? Do I have some help? That's why the Zyto scanning or other processes are working so well, because the first thing the person's seeing is what's not right about them. And then the program becomes the solution for that. And as he said the price barrier will go away. So again, in all this swirl I've been around in all these last months, it's all so great. Even Brannick Riggs on stage teaching some profound health science knowledge. Like, it was so good. But I bet there's not one person in the room, including myself, that could have turned around and given that presentation. Not one. So that's great for us to have confidence and belief in doTERRA, but it wasn't a message we could repeat. Ted.
We need to ask them if they're taking all these things, do you feel any better?
Yeah, do you feel better? That's a wonderful question. Is it making you feel better, right?
You may need to repeat that for.
Thank you. So Ted is saying one of the questions we could ask in that kind of an environment, if we find ourselves facing objections, like, well, I already have that stuff. He said to ask the poignant question, so how do you feel? Do you feel better? Is it making a difference in your life, right?
Yeah, but Laura, how did you present this VMG Plus? Because it's very special.
I got you. We're going there. We're so going there. Like, you just hold that question. She wants to know, how do we present this VMG Plus?
Because nobody else has this.
That's exactly right. It is a profoundly unique, wonderful, extraordinary product.
So how do you?
I got you. I got you. We're going there. I'm gonna get.
It's 1:35.
Yes.
It's been an hour and a half. I don't know if people will want to break.
We are going to take a break, Athena. That's actually what's next on my list. Thank you for teeing me up. I was got to lead out on the structure. Okay, I'm trying to close this morning's sale. I'm trying to sell you on something, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm going to give you the next nail. I said one nail, I'm going to give you two. So crazy. This is what happened yesterday. So I'm sitting around these top leaders, some very old, some like earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, others probably earning 30,000 a month as new young blue diamonds, super successful. The one, she's younger, she's newer, she came from another network marketing company, and every time we're talking about anything, she's always like, well, my team has that, my team has that, my team has that. Now, I'm not going to tell you she's braggy, she's not, but she's always the star, right? And so then everyone else is like, what's wrong with me? So, so the first thing that comes up is like, well, we have a really high closing ratio. Okay, awesome. And the next thing will come up is like, we don't have any problem getting people to show up to their wellness consults. Because the other person in the room was like, nobody shows up to a wellness consult. She's like, well, we don't have that problem. And then the next thing that came up was LRP conversion. And she's like, we're really good at it. Okay, so now you're like, well, we should just all bow down and follow what she's doing because clearly she's got it. And that's how people start feeling in the room. And then she said something so profound. None of these are tied together, but I'm paying attention. And she says, now we're talking about comp plan and we're talking about money and we're talking about helping people make money. And she says, my team has had such a hard time with people earning their 250 power of 3 bonus. And I'm like, wait, what? You can't have all the other things you just told me and then tell me you guys don't have your 250. Like, nothing about that math makes any sense to me. In fact, I'm channeling my inner Rebecca Hinsey at the moment because Becky, like to this very day, one of the things that Becky taught starting a bazillion years ago was to help people get to their 250. And you know what? We didn't have a problem with that, people. Whatever we were doing way back yonder, it was easy to get people to their 250. So again, with my history, and I'm like, something's wrong. So I'm like, time out. You can't make 3 claims and then make that one. Like, something's wrong. What are you doing wrong? Like, what's wrong? And she says, well, our problem is that people are always in and out of the rewards orders. In other words, they're not keeping people. So yeah, they got all the signups and they're putting someone new into the pay structure, but a customer fell out. And I'm like, why do you have such poor customer retention? Because that was the one number we didn't cross over, right? It was retention. She said people aren't feeling results, so they're not sticking with it. This is doTERRA, people. They're not feeling results? I'm like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? They're not getting results? What are you selling? Now, what was brilliant about her is she and her team, whether they knew it or not, they'd caught the traction on acquisition and retention. They actually weren't selling oils. She's a very early majority person. She thinks people think oils are weird and that you shouldn't start with weird, you should start with normal. So they were selling LLV, the collagen, the probiotic, and what was the 4th product they were always selling? So they have kind of this wellness bundle that they had created. And doTERRA almost released this as a kit at Leadership last year. And I'm super glad they did it because it would have been with LLV, right? So this is what they're selling. Okay, just do the math. Who knows how much VMG costs? Oh yeah, E Omega, that's the other product. So they've got the VMG, the E Omega, the PB Restore right there. How much you got? You're at 125 PB. You're at 140, $50, right? How much is a box of Advantage?
It's 60, 70.
It's $90. Okay, so now where are we? $240. Okay, so that's their starter kit. That's going to be some good PV, right? Because I think the PV added up is nearly 200. So no wonder it's like we got great closing rate. Da, da, da. Now she's really good at statistics. Her early majority brain is wired for evidence. So her presentations are loaded with stats. So it's very compelling. She takes out the competition. She talks about why other multivitamins are crap, right? So she's got it. So she's getting really high adoption. But you guys, I just listed off our star product bundle with freaking collagen, and our people aren't getting results. How is that possible? And then they're dropping their orders. And that's where I'm going to leave you, at that cliffhanger. It's time for a break. All right. All right. So I'm on like a completely different time zone with my body. It's 1:40. I'm thinking we're at a 10-minute break thing. Like, we're not at a meal break yet. You guys good? But I can tell you need a break. Like, you're right, Athena. I'm watching my audience. I get it. But I knew what my first chapter was, and I wanted to leave you at this point, that this is the problem we must solve. Is who cares what your message is? Who cares what you're selling unless you get results? And that's how you get retention. And that's how you build this business. You change lives, and it makes you money. So let's start there when we get back, shall we? Okay, 10-minute break. I'm going to go take my VMG.
person, like two above me, she registered to come, but her boyfriend has surgery, and she would like to get a copy.
Yeah, if she's one of the heads that Becky thought was going to be here, she made enough copies for people who registered at the house. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, she registered for the in person.
I just have to
and
make
then-
sure that if she's on Becky's list, then I can give you an extra handout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will.
Shane, we can turn this off now. How do we do that?
Back to a little bit of the basics of when we introduced lifelong vitality, because we were switching
That's right.
from
You've been around long
Oil,
enough. Yeah, it's true.
to saying, we didn't use the word foundational,
No, we didn't.
but it was.
You're going to love what I
You
got
know,
next for you.
So,
You're
you know,
going to
and
love
I
it.
still use the phrase, your
Yes.
body wants to be healthy.
It's
It wants
true.
to be in
It's
balance.
wired for
So
that.
give it something to
Yes.
support that.
You were wired for that.
Yeah.
It's always trying to work you in that direction.
But then we're returning to that. And you know the other thing we're returning to?
Fire? How do we turn the fire off? Just being a girl, Shane. I'm cold. I'm hot.
What we're returning to, which I love, is it doesn't
Truth.
have to be that we
truth.
hit 500 people online this
No,
week.
no.
Let's just get each other face to face.
That's right. It
And solve
actually
a
restores
problem.
the art of one-on-one. It puts us back into
'Cause
peace
that's
with
what
that.
people are missing.
It's true.
They're
It
missing
really has
connection.
revived that.
You create connection
Amen.
with people
Amen.
and
Yes.
solve a problem, and you
You're
never have
so
to
right.
talk budget.
You're so right. I love it. I love it. All right.
I'm here to be re-energized.
Misty, how are you? I got to give you a hug. I'm not used to you with such long hair.
Oh my goodness, I know it's been a long time. It
I
started during
know.
COVID, and
Oh my
I thought this
gosh,
is my last
it's
time
great
to
on
grow.
you.
Oh,
I like
thank
it.
you. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much for coming and
Oh,
doing
thanks
this
for
for
having
us.
me. I'm so
Oh,
grateful to
yeah.
be here. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to see this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And then I need to start getting back on your Monday calls.
Yeah, do it. You're always welcome. That's awesome. Yes. All right, my friends, take a seat and we're going to jump into our next chapter. It is a chapter day. I do have breaks wired in there. What'd y'all do with your break? This is what I did with my break. While you're sitting down, number one, had to go get my VMG in me, right? I take it midday now. I've switched from first thing to slightly midday. I needed a bio break. That's all good, right? Well, I put it in the smoothie Becky made for me. Yeah, it's lovely. It's perfect. I take it is in my third round. So I have a morning round, a midday round, an afternoon round. I take it afternoon. I take one of each. I just take them. I stage all my pills. So first thing in the morning, I do all my cleansing stuff. And then I do like my energy boost with VMG. And then I do collagen in the afternoon. I take a recharge both those times. So I just did my VMG. Now you're over here. Yeah. What I do is maybe a little more complex than most people want to know, but hey, I want to live forever.
This is protein, fiber, VMG, collagen, recharge, and a scoop of moringa. One-stop shopping.
Sounds awesome.
And then
So this is my little joke to start our section here. So Jerry and I have 5 children, 4 girls, and 2 were home for Christmas, okay? It's a pretty good ratio. We got 2 out of the 5 home for Christmas. And the 27-year-old just graduated from college, so proud of her. And so she came home for Christmas, and then as she should, you know, they say to have those like gap years or gap trips or whatever. So she's got herself on an international trip as of Thursday. She flew out to Sydney, Australia, and then she'll go to New Zealand and she'll go to Indonesia. And I'm like drooling. I'm like, I want to come with you. So I almost like tried to weasel my way into her trip, but I figured, no, go be a full-on like young adult, right? So during Christmas time, Jerry and I, my husband and I, had both been listening to different experts out there talking about cortisol. Anybody have a cortisol interest, you know, per our Mr. Adrenal Gland story earlier? So we were joking around because all the experts say that your cortisol levels rise as you get older, which is like, that's not fair. You know, your kids are out of the house. They're not supposed to get higher. And then we were laughing because we're like, the reason why your cortisol levels go up is because you have adult children. Like when they were at home, like you kind of had it under control, right? But now they're adults and you don't have any control. You just have all the requests. So my joke today is Miss World Traveler responsible college graduate. She's a great girl, detail oriented. Well, I signed on her checking account because she got her checking account when she was like 17, right? So she needed a parent. So I'm still on there. So I'm the default number. So they always call me when she gets fraud alerts. Well, a year ago, she traveled to Asia and we had the same story. So I've gotten 4 fraud alert calls on her visa only because I'm on her account. That is somebody using your card in a different country. So by the 4th call this morning, I'm like, let me see if I can try to help out. And I was texting her last night, you know, while she's in Sydney, like, I'm getting calls on your card. And she's like, oops, I forgot to call the bank. So I'm calling the bank this morning just now, trying to see if I can't help, like put a travel notice on her account. So I'm just like, yeah, here we are, cortisol levels, adult children trying to still have their backside.
Can't do it online.
No.
I did.
Well, if I had her login, she's 27. I don't have anything to do with her account. She's a big girl, except for right now. It's just funny to me. So, all right. Okay, welcome back. So where have I left you? I've left you, I hope, with hanging. Exactly. I left you with a cliffhanger. So I hope that you're feeling safe and confident and stable in this company that you've chosen. It truly is one of the grandest, if not the greatest ever, network marketing companies ever to occur on the planet. And when somebody of Eric Worre's caliber says you have the unicorn, that is a very qualified claim. And our company and our owners and our executives are so conscientious of where we are today as a company and an industry and a world that we're making changes. And so in all of the changes and all the yumminess that's going on, as to, now does everybody know Rod Richardson that I showed on the video?
No.
So Rod is a doTERRA Blue Diamond, and he's wonderful. You can tell just from listening to him, right? He's a great man. Now Rod's background is he and Seth Risenmay, he's the one who recruited Seth. They came together to doTERRA, and where they worked before is they worked for a company who, like Eric Worre, coached all kinds of network marketing companies. That was their job. So when Rod speaks, you listen, because Rod knows our industry. Okay, so it's a very qualified statement for him to come and just share this knowledge with us. So Rod came to the same conclusion. Now, mind you, that Rod statement happened only last week, meaning the week before last, on a Goddard compensation, Blue Diamond and above, because we weren't supposed to like really be like putting the comp plan out there yet per se, till it was for, you know, we don't want it half baked. And so they pulled together anybody who'd been to the summit, had already heard about the comp plan changes, and we were brainstorming and talking, and Becky was on there. And it was actually Becky's question, her profound question, because again, she was like, hey, that 1.25% statistic is fascinating. And so she's grabbing onto that. And Rod's answer was because of Becky's question. And I was like, mic drop moment, right? So I had my assistant pull that out and actually gave that clip to Emily. And it was on the backbone of that Emily said what she said at the beginning of the Founders Retreat. So what's the gap? Yes, we need builders enrolling 10 people or more a year. Yes, absolutely. But what Rod's teaching us is the companies that go from that crazy hyper growth, there's money coming out your eyeballs phase, into it's not so great anymore, get desperate. And what they do is instead of leaning into product, they lean into business. And the minute you lean into business, your company is on its way to death. Now, does that mean we should ignore the business? Heck no, right? These are partners. But what Emily showed us in the cycle, so now I'm coming back to what I said I would come back to, is she showed us in this beautiful diagram how you keep a company like ours going. And because we're product focused, it's why we're so different. It's why we're the unicorn. Now, you can't just say we're product focused and not have builders who don't know what they're doing, who don't have business training. They go hand in hand. So I want you to hear me on that. However, Rod identified that without that message, without the method that first helps the person on the other side of the conversation see that they have gaps, and then see that we have solutions, and see that it's a no-brainer choice and the price barrier goes away, and they get started and they get results, you don't have a business when you're in health. Does that make sense? And if you add to that, as he pointed out, that you're now selling stuff that is rampantly available and you have intense competition in the marketplace, you're in a red ocean. Do you guys all know what the red ocean term is? No. Red ocean means fierce competition. It's a shark environment where everyone's sharking for the dollar from the consumer. So how do you pull yourself from a red ocean to a blue ocean? With the very products that people are already buying from somewhere else. They're buying it from their big box store. They're buying it from Amazon. So why would they buy it from us? And it's probably going to cost more. So why would they switch? Why would they switch? So it can't be a product to product presentation. It's got to be something different. So what will pull you out is, so let's look at the team that I already described on your cliffhanger. They're doing something right. Again, their closing rates are high. Their wellness consult booking and keeping rates are high. They're going on LRP or now rewards orders are high, and their LRP or rewards order retention is low. And I asked her why, and she said, we aren't keeping people because of a lack of results. Well, again, when you look at what they're selling, you're like, that's kind of a staggering, weird answer. So what's wrong? So that's where we are right now. This is why we're here, because we have an answer. We got this figured out, my friends. Now, I got news for you. Health is not simple. Okay, let's be honest. Health is not simple. And in fact, in the 30 years that I've been in the industry, it's just gotten more complex. Like, does anybody know what your COMT score is, your MTHFR score? Like 50% of Caucasians have MTHFR and 95% of them don't know it. And if you don't know it, well, that could mean a whole lot of things for you. Like every single enriched grain product you ever eat that's full of regular old folate / folic acid, whatever you want to call it, is actually toxic to you. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so breathe.
Wait, you should say that again.
I just wanted to make it be like head-spinningly complex because it is. And that's one tiny slice of where we are. Like, I look at my whole wellness career and I just think I was really well trained from the beginning. Like, I just hung around the right people and learned the right stuff. And pretty much I can't find hardly a thing I've had to unlearn. That's how good it was. But everything I've learned has been built on the shoulders of that, right? So some days my head's just spinning because it's like, oh my gosh, there's just so many cool things. Like you can get your DNA tested and you can get this in a blood test. I mean, how long have you been in your career? I've known you for a really long time, right? So I'm thinking, imagine being Dr. Missy here and like, hello to what she's seen change in her career from testing and just the expansion of knowledge. So as a wellness advocate, I'm not asking people to get MTHFR tests, okay? I'm not asking to find out what their COMT levels are, let alone teaching them how to like take their HDL and their triglycerides and the ratio to determine the quality of their LDLs. You get what I'm saying, okay? However, those are all really good things. But as a wellness advocate, if I got to train every team member I bring in on all that stuff, we're dead in the water. We need to just be functional medicine practitioners or foundational medicine practitioners at that point. So to repeat what I said, there is a gene mutation known as MTHFR.
It's the food piece. I didn't know the food part.
Right. So just so they're all with us. Yeah.
I did not know that.
So our bodies have to methylate B vitamins, namely B9 and B12. And if you have MTHFR, you don't methylate those vitamins, which means if they come through your system, you're going to be like, hi, bye, see ya, and you won't utilize them properly. Well, hello, B12, B9, these are like radically important B vitamins. And so if you don't have enough B12, your chances of being anemic are going to skyrocket. And now we got a whole nother litany of problems. You see what I'm saying? So this is an issue. So statistically, 50% of Caucasians, I can tell you that overall population-wise, we're hearing anything from 40 to 60% of people have MTHFR. We'll just go with Caucasians. They say about 50% have MTHFR, a gene mutation. If you have the gene mutation, you're not good with these B vitamins. So 95% of people with MTHFR don't know they have it. Now, if you eat enriched flour, what's it enriched with? What does enriched mean?
Something that
They took stripped down white stuff, and then they threw some vitamins back in it and called it enriched. Okay?
One other thing is because they take the flour, they bleach it with chlorine.
That's what I'm saying. Stripped down stuff.
And it comes up with something called oxexin, I think it is. Anyway.
Yeah, it's not good for you, right?
They use that to test rats for, I think it's Plumber for, can't remember the one. Sorry.
In other words, what you're proving to us, Ted, is that this concept of bleaching and stripping these grains down to this nothingness is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just to kind of make up for the sin, they threw some enrichment in it, and then they called it enriched flour. So what they're enriching it with, by the way, I want to be Ted when I grow up, because you're how old? 80 something. 80 what?
83.
83. Okay. Where's Ted today? Here. Where's he sitting? Front row. What happens on every Monday call? Front and center, camera on, present, building a business, sharing the news of health. He's like talking to me about Casey Means' Good Energy book. Like, hello, I want to be like that when I'm 83.
He's from south of Charlottesville, so he had to drive up here.
Yeah, and he drove. And then look at his skin. Like, I want to be like Ted when I
He's
grow up.
getting younger. I've known him
I
for-
actually see that too. Yeah, so thank you for your example. It's true. Yeah. Emily said from stage, she's 34 when she started doTERRA. I'm sure it's been stressful. She's 51 now, and she said, I feel better. I look better by all means than I did at 34 when I started this company. Excuse me? Say that again? Did you say 88?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to like bow down and worship your examples, because that's amazing.
I just turned 70, I feel young.
And she's in the front row.
She's what?
And she's in the front row.
And she's in the front row. They're listening. They're paying attention. This is amazing. Okay, so to Ted's point, the white flour is garbage. They put stuff in it to make us feel better. Now, when you, diabetes. Okay, you were going after the diabetes story, which is one of several outcomes of eating the flour, right? So to Becky's question, the thing she wants me to drive home is what we're being enriched with is the kinds of B vitamins, namely the B9 source. The type of B9 is not methylated. So when you have MTHFR and you don't methylate Bs and you get a non-methylated B9, it's literally toxic to your body. So every enriched, so donuts, cookies, crackers, bread, cereal, all the enriched junk out there is literally poisonous to you.
So that may be why a lot of people think they're gluten intolerant when they're actually just having, okay, that makes perfect sense, and I have not made that connection.
Then there's one, as long as you want to go down that rabbit hole, there's one more reason for the perception of gluten intolerance, and it's glyphosate. So Roundup, when they lost their patent after 10 years, then glyphosate is the pesticide, right? The herbicide pesticide that they spray all over plants. And it's all over food, and the animals are eating it. So it's in so much of our food. And so what glyphosate does is you have this really tight locked up system in your membrane with your intestinal tract. And glyphosate actually causes it to loosen up. That's a very bad thing. And I'll tell you why. Because now undigested food that should have been made to stay inside of the intestinal tract until it's prepared to be released gets out early. And you're going to get all kinds of reactions in the body to proteins, especially, that are getting out into the system inappropriately. So the grain is a double whammy: glyphosate and non-methylated B9. Yes.
I'll be quick, but my daughter had been tested pharmacologically, gene tested a long time ago, and I call it the mother gene, but anyway, MT, whatever gene. You just got that.
I did just get that gene.
Yeah, that gene. And it wasn't until recently that I was, after our doTERRA talked about methylating
Right.
our vitamins, I was like, I probably am as well, because she's my daughter.
Sure.
And I have struggled most of my young life, especially with anemia. And then you're telling me
Boom.
this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So
All the things. Well, and just to really take you down the rabbit hole, and I'm sure Missy could explain this better than myself, but you have what's hetero or homo, meaning if you have one parent that gave you the MTHFR gene mutation, then you're kind of like halfway down that degradation. If you have both parents contributing, it's even worse. But it's so common. It's so much more common than we understand. Now, as long as we're on the commercial break and we're going deep on product, I need you to understand something, and this is radically important. Like, pay attention. Pay attention. Do you know what's in this box right here? Sorry, my slippers are like sticky to this floor and they're super noisy. Do you know what's in this box? Methylated B9 and methylated B12. What does that mean to a person with MTHFR? It's perfect. It means they can actually use it. Now, did you know you can't actually get, there is no natural source for methylated 9 and 12. You don't just go out and eat a food and it's methylated. It actually had to be created. Okay, so doTERRA put it in this box. All right? Now, picture your whole life, you've never met a methylated B9 or B12. Because where would you have gotten it? Unless you took a specific supplement that had methylated B9 or B12, you have never seen a methylated B in your life. And if you've had MTHR your whole life, you have been under functioning. So all of a sudden you take this product and oh my goodness, your body is like, humming and running. And the first thing you start doing is your liver kicks in. If your liver's been asleep and it kicks in, what might happen? Boom, this lady's very smart. You'll start detoxifying. Now, if you haven't been detoxifying like your whole life, could it possibly not feel great when you first get going? Okay, so one of the number one symptoms is fatigue. So if you have anyone go on VMG, now we're going to go back to that team. I left you with a cliffhanger of a team selling our freaking wellness bundle, and they're saying people aren't getting freaking results. And you know what? They're in freaking Utah County, which is full of freaking Caucasians. Is this starting to make sense to you? So they're like, and the two top leaders on the team were in the beta test, and they were the ones saying, I didn't feel better on this product. So what's my first suspicion, Athena? I wonder if you have MTHFR. And finally, one of them said to me the other day, I think I'm going to go get tested.
You know what you think, like in the LLVs, the alpha CRS, you know, some people have sometimes problem, you know,
Yeah.
digesting or they are, you know.
We're going to talk about that. She is very ahead. Okay, so
I'm still missing the boat then, because if they needed it and now this is in it, why are there's still a
why don't they feel better?
Yeah.
Because their liver and the immune system started working. And there is a whole bunch of garbage to get rid of. And it makes them feel tired.
Okay.
Or worse.
Or headaches, or digestive.
Yeah, there's a few cases that's worse than that, but the most common low-key symptom is fatigue. But I'm not going to leave you here because I don't want you to end up like the team who's like, we're going to sell the wellness bundle that the whole company is now building itself around, and then we're going to have subpar results. That is not a business plan. Because I just told you they don't have good rewards retention, and that's not what I'm here for. So we need a solution. And this program is wired with the solution. It's wired with the magic eraser. We're going to solve that problem, okay? So
90 days.
it's not time, it's product. And it works right out the gates. My assistant comes to me. She works for me, and she's skinnier than I am. We're probably about the same height. She had gastric bypass surgery 20 years ago or something. She weighed over 300 pounds. And she comes to me, she tackles me in the laundry. I'm like, Laura, I'm having a histamine response to these new products. I said, well, here's my typical laundry list. 1, you have gallbladder issues. Number 2, you're on a medication. Number 3, you have too much caffeine in your life. Number 4, and and she just stops me. Gallbladder, don't have one. I'm like, oh, well, there we are. Okay, so we need a magic eraser for that too. And then what are we gonna do with the caffeine people? And what are we gonna do with the meds? Like, we got all kinds of things that are creating body burdens that when you put this fuel in your body, you are suddenly getting this person to act in ways they have never acted. And it doesn't necessarily feel good out of the gates. And so if you don't teach that, you don't explain it, and you don't understand it, then you're gonna lose your rewards orders. You with me? But I don't want to have to explain. So guess what that team is doing now? They're halfway paying attention. Remember, I said sit in the front row in class, pay attention, take notes, don't be on your phone, okay? Because I can tell when I'm talking to her, did you watch the video? Did you watch my more recent video? No. Well, go watch the video. I can tell she's not getting the full picture because what they're doing is they're making up for the problem, and then they're selling the magic eraser after the problem already began. So I have one gal on my team who signed somebody up, sold her our VMG, and the lady threw it up. So they sat at a table, and she pushed the box back to her, and she said, take this away. I don't want this. So what if 1 in every 4 or 5 people is going to have a detox reaction to something that wonderful? Shouldn't you have a plan? And the answer is emphatically yes. And if you don't know that little bit about your product, now you're not hearing this from stage from doTERRA, except a little bit more. And part of that is because I'm a major pot stirrer and I have pounded the pavement with this to ensure I can't have a plan where 1 out of 4, every 4 or 5 customers is not enjoying our product. That's not working. So we got to spread this news far and wide. And I'm still cliffhanging you because I haven't even told you what the magic eraser is yet. But I want you to know we have hope, we have a plan, and we have something that works. And most importantly, can you imagine giving people nutrients that helps their bodies function fully and putting them in position to be able to have utilization and all the blessings that then can come to their health as a result of that? Okay, so that's kind of we have a solution to what ails the teams that are struggling with that. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to just simply state for you that I have the intention of wherever you are, to whatever level you pay attention and absorb today, don't let today be your only day. I hope you'll go back and watch the class, for example, multiple times, because you're going to have different levels of learning, especially when you go out. Like, how do you think we're learning these things? Because we're going out, we're sharing, we're practicing results, and then we're learning, right? If I had not been in the beta group and had talked to, so my husband and I were both in the 20 people in the beta group last June, July. 5 people out of the 20, I would hear these things from. I have low energy. And I'm like, this is unacceptable. So my brain starts whirling. And that's when I was like, it was a total light bulb moment that I knew exactly what to do. So thank goodness I'd had that experience so I could apply it. So your experiences matter. You know, every once in a while we get that phone call of, I'm not feeling so great on the cleanse and restore. It's usually one of 2 things: too much caffeine, or every once in a while there's someone with a tummy that can't handle GX Assist because of the caprylic acid. So I'm with Roxanne Bybee yesterday. We're yabbering about this, and she says, I find a couple slices of apple will take away the GX stomach event. Okay, so when we talk to each other and we share and we learn, so I'm like, well, Roxanne, it's not an apple, it's fiber. So it's probably pectin. And so whether it's an apple or you just throw our fiber in, let's add some fiber with our GX Assist, and then we can have, again, 100% success rate and eliminate these people having reactions. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to catch on early and teach people the right way to do this. And don't be like this other team where they're not following instructions. They're doing half versions of the program. They then have problems. Then they're trying to sell people the magic eraser, and you've already lost your audience.
My person in her 2nd month, really bad response to GX, was terrified.
Yeah, you brought that up on the call.
Yeah,
yes.
To stop right away. I don't know that she did the full GX at the time. I don't know if she actually.
Well, we start people out easy, right?
And I even said back off, take a break, whatever. But she was so terrified.
Yeah.
About the digestive problems. So this is.
Well, we always say take it with food, right?
The fiber.
The fiber. Wasn't that brilliant? So thank you, Roxanne Bybee. So we are all in a grand experiment together. We are learning together. We have new products. We're at a new level of play. And let's just put a period on this paragraph of conversation that wellness is not simple. It's incredibly complicated. And the world is in some sense complicating it because science is allowing us to pull back the hood and look at our bodies in ways that we never even knew were possible. And then the complexity of products then that are coming out as a result of this science is incredible. So what if you all worked for a pharmaceutical company and you were selling, let's say, a GLP-1 product? You were selling Ozempic. Could you go out and sell it and know nothing about it? The answer is candidly no. So again, we're here so we can learn. And I wouldn't do this if this were like a bunch of brand new wellness advocates. We would not be having this conversation, just saying, okay? But I want us to learn and love what we have and understand that although there's a level of complexity here, I want you to, I tell you these things so you'll rest assured that at the end of the day, the program doesn't require ever understanding MTHFR if you follow the instructions. But if you're not following the program as is, you're going to run into the GX stories or the fatigue stories, and you're not going to know why. And I don't want you to have to know that. I don't want you to know the fatigue story. If you'll just follow the program and you'll get people following the program, our chances of people not having highly desirable results will be diminished greatly. Okay, so my hope is we've built something so ironclad that the wellness advocate and the customer themselves actually don't have to understand it, They just got to do it. They got to like it. They got to feel better, and then they're going to pass it on. And that's the results we're seeing from people who are following instructions. Okay, so I want to take you to a couple of ground floor concepts that are really important, I think, for the grand scheme of things. So Athena, will you help me pass those out? Okay, this is a 26-page amazing booklet for you. You already have yours, Ted. Very good.
Oh, I appreciate.
Do you think you can, let,
We're going to have to explain that. Yeah, yeah. Here you go, Bernadette. Did everybody get one? Shane, do you have one? Okay. Did she register? Okay, great. All right, fantastic. Okay, so Becky, I forgot to. No, I didn't. They're right here. We won't go there just yet. Okay, live guides as well. This is very important that you have a live guide. This is the latest live guide. This is thank you, Becky and Shane, for providing all these wonderful things for you.
thank you.
Here's for your other person. Okay. You got it down. There you go. There you go, sir. And then Athena, I'm putting 2 on your chair, okay?
Laura, this is not in our back office right yet.
It is. It's been in there since convention.
No, it was not. It was, I ordered it, it was a old one.
It was in there because I worked with doTERRA on changing it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so something wonderful happened about June. I think it was June 6th to be exact. There was a meeting with 20 corporate people. And then they just called in a few wellness advocates that live close by and asked us to come in and weigh on. By this time, we've been exposed to the VMG and stuff. Like they've disclosed this to a few of us that they're going to have these new products and they want help. Like, how are we going to roll these things out at convention? Okay. So we're in this meeting and we actually backed up the truck and we said to ourselves, who are we? We're not the doTERRA of yesteryear. Who was it that brought up to me that you did? You're like, this is way back when we got LLV. Okay, that was like, I joined in August and we got LLV in November of 2008. Okay, so originally our identity was we're an essential oil company, we're selling essential oils, and then we got LLV. And then a couple of years later, we got TerraZyme, we got Zendocrine, we got PB, and then we got GX. And then, fast forward, and now we've got Serenity and Adaptive, and then fast forward, and we've got MetaPower. And what happened is our wellness advocates were lost. Okay, they just didn't know, what are we doing here? Yes, and so did you hear what Rod said at the end? The company was releasing products, boom, not enough time for them to grab hold, the messaging wasn't clear, next product, and so it became very whiplashy, okay? So in this meeting, what we were holding ourselves to is like, we got to settle this down, and we have to find out, who are we? Who is doTERRA? And so some outstanding things came out of that meeting. One is what has now become the doTERRA ethos. And it is a statement. So turn with me, if you will, to page 20. And then I also want you to look at your handout. And the very first page of your handout, they look the same with 2 exceptions. And I'm going to point that out to you, and I'm going to tell you why I gave you the handout. Now, at this point, the online people are like, I don't have a handout. I don't know what the heck she's pointing at. Okay, so some of these materials, so I've never done anything but an in-person training where we hand out all the handouts to everybody and then we teach you how to get them. So I'm not used to an online audience, and the Hinzies and I didn't connect on that. So I apologize that we didn't make that connection and prepare our online attendees adequately. I'll be showing some things, whatnot. Becky's got files, Becky and Shane, so we'll talk about which ones we'll send out. We'll send out this one and some others. And then others I'm going to tell you where they can be found. Okay, so we'll make that simple. I won't go into those details right now, but just rest assured, onliners, we'll send you page 20 of the Live Guide. Why a difference? So the overall take here is they are the same. In the middle of this page in orange is the ethos statement. Can everybody find it? What's in orange? What does it say? So when you ask, who is doTERRA? We are wellness powered by essential oils. So now if you wanted to define that in a very brief, short way, as short as possible. Then you would go to the bottom of this page. Now, it's a little insider information, vetting. Laura wrote the page, turned it in. They gave it to their designer. I'm in the middle of processing this with the doctor and Lauren and all that, and something came out of the conversation that tweaked it just slightly, and it actually went to publish before it was done. And I would have just tweaked it in two ways. One, I would have ensured that the bottom of the page stood out separate from the rest of the page because this defines your ethos statement. And number two, the last two bullet points need to be changed in their order. In the next thing I show you, you'll understand why and you'll appreciate it immensely. But overall, page 20 is pretty darn good with those two exceptions. And I just want you to know that because I want you to be able to emphasize the bottom of the page as the definition of your ethos statement. Okay, I would typically have someone else read it, but since we're online, I'll just go ahead and read it, okay? Since I've got the mic on. The doTERRA Wellness Lifestyle. This guide gives you extensive exposure to the variety of doTERRA products available to help you achieve holistic wellness with greater ease and more effectiveness than you have ever imagined. To better understand the power of what you have access to, know that every solution falls into one or more of the following categories, depending on what you use it for or the role you intend it to play. Foundational wellness. Establish foundational wellness with essential nutrients and vital gut health support. Targeted solutions. Aim the powerful effects of specialty supplements and essential oils at top health priorities. Personal and home care. Reduce toxic load on and around you. Choose natural, oral, sun, hair, skin, and home products. And lastly, informed self-care. And again, I'm reading from the new page, so my order is different on the last two bullets, which is important. Be ready for life's little urgencies with natural solutions at your fingertips. Now, why would I write the word urgencies instead of emergencies? Because I've been through the ringer with doTERRA Legal and I know what passes and what doesn't. So urgencies is a really nice compliant way to say whatever, right? Okay, so there's the ethos statement, doTERRA, wellness powered by essential oils. I love that, right? So simple and so true. Okay, so how do we do that? We believe it's holistic. We help you in 4 ways. Now, the top of the page delves into the first 2 bullets, which is where we like to begin with people. Now, typically as we reflect back on our past and we think about our essential oil classes, have we not said a million times, I have an oil for anything, right? You have a problem, I got an oil. So we've actually been meeting people at which of the 4 bullet points? Where did we really start our teaching? Informed self-care. You got a fire, I got an extinguisher. Is there anything wrong with that approach?
Doesn't happen all the time.
It worked.
Yeah.
I sold you a bunch of fire extinguishers. So if I sell you a box of 10 oils, you now have 10 fire extinguishers. A couple of them if I'm teaching you right, I'm going to encourage you to use them every day. And the rest are going to go on a top shelf and you'll use them on a rainy day. You're going to use 1 or 2. You're going to use them every once in a while. So is there a flaw? I mean, if all I'm doing is selling fire extinguishers, mission accomplished. I just sold you a set of beautiful oils and I'm going to encourage you to keep building your collection. And at some point, you'll probably have more than you have any idea what to do with, and you'll cancel your rewards order. So on the exit interview, for every person who would talk to doTERRA, on the answer, they said, why are you, because they make you call, right? So why are you canceling your order? I have too many things. I don't know how to use them. Okay, so too many, what that really equals is I have too many oils and I don't know how to use them and I'm not using them up fast enough, so I'm not going to keep ordering. They would all say, I like doTERRA, the products are awesome, I just have too much and I'm not going to keep spending here. Okay, so that's where we started and that's our problem. Now here's the other problem. Go ahead.
No, I just suddenly was going back to, well, if we're going to give away the 10 5 ml oils, why aren't we giving samples of
Because you want them to buy the most important products. And then you help them build, you supplement with everything else. By the end of the first year now, you'll get peppermint with your first order if you hit some markers. We'll talk about that. And then over the year, if you hit product of the month, by the time you're done, at the end of a year, you'll have 13 oils in your collection. And you will have had an opportunity to be educated one by one on those oils. That's our new product of the month program. We'll talk about that shortly. All right, so when LLV came out, it was literally, convention was November of 2008, first year of doTERRA. And we were taught early on, we sat at the feet of Dr. Hill. And what we you know, what Becky and I were famous for is we taught Dr. Hill's daily health habits like our lives depended on it. No kit had supplements in it, not one. Everybody started with an oil kit. And I remember being in the Hinsey home over and over again. We had people with compass scanners, right? So then we would help individualize purchases, but we taught that daily habits thing like our life depended on it. And we got everybody on loyalty rewards. But we right then and there, we would put that in their cart, right? And we would teach them. We had little brochures we made up ourselves. And so, like, why is Becky still a presidential diamond? Why is Shane still why are they double diamonds in doTERRA? Why are we the only 12 people on the presidential trip from North America? Where's all our peers? Where's all the up and coming new builders? And why are they blue diamonds and not presidentials? Why are our paychecks more steady than other people? Because we taught product, we taught consumption, we taught certain rules of how to live with these products, and our customers didn't quit. Yesterday,
But it was wellness, not just problem solving for single things.
boom, we didn't just sell fire extinguishers, we sold LLV. Yesterday, I sat with my account manager in the Delta Lounge at the airport. She's on Zoom, I'm with her, and they have this new program. Becky was on right before I was, and we went through our numbers. It was fascinating to me to see all these new things, TGV, BGV, PGV, and to see which of my qualifiers had what scores. And I was so shocked at somebody who had a lower rank but had super high numbers. And I pointed that out to my account manager. I mean, look at her numbers. They're staggering. And the difference was I know who's teaching product and lifestyle and programs versus who's not. I'm telling you, it's where it's at. And because, again, we were raised on Dr. Hill's daily health habits. And so we taught the whole pyramid with LOV at the bottom, Terrazyme, and PB Restore or PB Assist, and then we taught the oils. We always taught people to take the consumables, and it really made a difference. So we were doing then what? Out of our 4 bullet points, what were we teaching literally from the beginning? Foundational wellness and informed self-care. Okay, so we sold the oils because we had to. That was our first kit. We definitely got them on daily habits, so that was foundational wellness. And yes, Athena, we were running compass scans or something like unto it, and we were inviting people to identify their targeted solutions. Now, at what point did we start getting home and personal care? That came along. And once you love doTERRA, then you just naturally start buying other stuff. Okay, I wouldn't say we like sat on that and taught it, but we're selling all of it. Okay, and that was our natural process. Okay, all right, so go up to the top of the page. The title is Make Wellness Your Foundation. As you pursue a lifetime of wellness, now is the time to strengthen the foundation of your health. Use the worksheet on the following page to organize your wellness plan for over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. Oh, that works really well with the 90-day program, doesn't it? Just saying. Okay, so 4 pages changed in the Live Guide. Almost entirely, it's exactly the same as it's been, with a few exceptions. Surely we swapped out LLV here, okay, duh, right? Surely we swapped it out here, duh. No more kids vitamins, by the way. What are kids now taking for a multivitamin if we don't have A to Z on here anymore? VMG for the family, okay? Then here, nothing changed. Recharge had already been added earlier in the year. MetaPower, nothing changed. As is. Few little tweaks here. We swapped out a couple oils. We added Shinrin-yoku. That could have been done sooner. Shane's probably happy about that. All right. And then we, again, we tweaked Cleanse and Restore. We made sure that VMG is now showing in there instead of LLV. Okay. Abode page. Do you know how much our On Guard cleaning products outsell Abode? Shockingly. I mean, it's crazy. So we put On Guard back on. Okay, so On Guard laundry soap is like the top seller in this category. So we put it back in the guide. Next page. I sat down with Alora. You guys know who Alora is. She's on all your leadership calls and everything. She has the red hair. And Alora is like the boots on the ground girl with products of the month and all the things, right? And so I actually went through the sales numbers with her, and I'd already done it with Sarah Marie years before. And so you're like, well, where's Virage, Laura? Well, you should ask me how well it sells. Okay, so what we chose was either obvious category holders. How many sun care lines do we have? 1. Okay, so that's a whole category. How many oral care lines do we have? 1. Okay, so we hit all the big categories. How many hair products do we have? Right? So we hit all the big personal care categories. Yes, in some cases, top sellers, some case not. But if you go back and compare it to an old guide, you'll see a little bit of an order change because we're looking at what sells. What do people buy? Okay, all right, next page. Definitely some changes here. Really wanted to show off the whole On Guard family, show off the whole Breathe family, because brand families in doTERRA are very popular. Like the Deep Blue family is like, hello, On Guard, hello to top sellers, right? And then of course we wanted to feature this new frankincense family. Do you know how well that frankincense complex is selling? Off the charts. Oh my gosh, it is such a top selling product. Anybody taking it? Like, I want to be like Ted, so I'm taking sometimes 3 a day. Okay, I like this stuff. So this page got some changes, got a new photo. What?
You're not overdoing it 3 a day? No? Your body can
So,
take that.
so whatever to any of those statements.
Okay.
I don't think it's like gonna like knock you off your feet because you OD'd on it. Okay, it's frankincense.
I know, but I just love it.
On that frankincense capsule, I did some research to look at studies where it was used to treat different health conditions.
Right.
And the dosage that they use is, you would probably need 3 or 4 a day to keep up with that level of treatment.
Yes.
So you're fine. I mean, 1 a day is great, but if you're going after some targeted health things, there's no reason why you couldn't take 3 or 4.
So to Becky's point, you're looking at therapeutic versus maintenance dosing. The top 3 categories for the product, depending on which doTERRA science person you ask. So Scott Johnson is one of my personal favorites. I adore him. I think he's one of the most brilliant people at doTERRA. Like seriously, if you ever have a chance to hang out with Scott, do it. And he said to me, well, Laura, here's my opinion. I think the number one purpose for this product, and hear me clearly, is immune balance. Now, why didn't I say immune health? If I wanted to say immune health, I would have chosen On Guard. What's immune balance? What's immune imbalance? Got any ideas? Is there ever a time when your immune system goes wonky outside of something like the flu? Is there ever a time when your immune system might turn on you? Because remember that leaky gut we talked about with the food out in your system and your body's like, I don't recognize you. I think you're foreign and I think I should try to get rid of you, but it's your own tissue. That was a really roundabout way to get to that answer. I'm trying to teach you to be compliant because we must be, in a lot of spaces. It's for immune balance. Where'd my page go?
Is it the phosphoric acid complex, there is more resin than in the Deep Blue?
Yeah. Mostly the product that had the most boswellic acid was alpha CRS. Now, I haven't gone to compare milligram to milligram. I know, if I remember right, somebody can go check me. I want to say there was 400 milligrams of boswellic acid in 4 capsules of alpha CRS. I'd have to go look. It's been a long time. And I don't know what we have in the current one. By the way, you want to know what is a really powerful synergizer with the boswellic acid? It's turmeric. So whether you're taking Deep Blue Complex, I still pop some alpha CRS, by the way. I take turmeric, alpha CRS, and Deep Blue Complex because why not? I'm a super user. But anything that has the turmeric in it is going to be a great thing to enhance your results from the boswellic acid. Okay?
There's been new research that's coming out with turmeric and frankincense, and the two are so
They're
synergistic.
dynamic. They are.
And so I'm trying to get people to get both of them.
I like that. Yeah.
And take one of each a day.
Dr. Misty, Shane's bringing the mic to her. We're going to have her restate.
She's done now.
She's done? Well, she can restate it. That was good.
There's a lot of research that's telling us that frankincense with turmeric is more absorbed. So take the turmeric and the boswellic acid, the frankincense together. It's great. No other company has these products in this manner.
Yeah, and somebody say who she was that just said that.
That's Dr. Misty Paul.
Okay, thank you, Misty. All right, so just a little bit, again, a commercial break on the power of this boswellic product. So number 1, immune balance. Number 2, cellular health. So as doTERRA is now showing us wellness plus this, right? So they're showing, here's your foundational wellness bundle for sleep. Here's your wellness foundational bundle for cellular health. Here's your foundational wellness bundle for mood. So the top 2 products, quiz, maybe there's a prize at the end, don't have one, but just I'll falsely promise. What are the top 2 cellular health products if one of them is frankincense boswellia complex? What's the other one? It's DDR prime. Okay, so really great for that. And then the third category is the product of creating proper healthy inflammation in the body, which would then include all those things that where discomfort comes from, okay, because of the pro-inflammatory qualities of that. Okay, so now we're back to where we are. I was giving you a tour of the guide so you could see where the changes occurred so you'd understand your new guide. Now here, if you were in the old guide, this is what you would be looking at next. You would be looking at the pages that kind of look like this, only they were going horizontal. Do you remember that? When I looked at the design change with flipping products in and out, it was horrific. I was like, we're done with that design. It was awful. Nobody should have been asked to look at it. So I went back to our original 2020 design of this guide where we had done it in a columnar fashion and decided to go back to Allura and say, let's feature our top selling products. Let's not try to cover everything. Let's feature what people are buying. Now remember, the whole guide that we just flipped through was a tour of the wellness pyramid, right? So we're just recapping for them. So why has the order changed? Let me explain. First, we're introducing people to who we are and what we do. Our ethos statement in the center of the page with an explanation of what we believe. So let's go now to the top paragraph again where I started to read to you. And again, it says, as you pursue a lifetime of wellness, now is the time to strengthen the foundation of your health. Use the worksheet on the following page to organize your wellness plan over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. So instead of starting with the hamburger menu, as we called it, and then going to this and this, we rearranged the pages to come to a concluding statement after the tour, and then give them the place then to build their plan, and then encourage them to find their targeted solutions. So this is more the add-on idea, right? It's a building process. So we're inviting them first to begin with foundational wellness. Then we're inviting them to seek their own targeted solutions. We've given them a place to do it. The other thing that changed, which is a radical, simple one-word change. This said wellness consult. Now, whose orientation is that? It's no different than loyalty rewards. Loyalty to doTERRA, you can have points for that. Well, the customer doesn't. That's not in the customer's space. It's not in the customer space to say wellness consult. That's great for Misty. It's great for you and I. But for the customer, it's their wellness plan. Okay, so here we're presenting the entire, essence of who we are and what we're doing, how we're here to help you. We've given you space to create your plan. And then down in the targeted solutions sections, we lead them then to the subsequent pages to then identify the add-on targeted solutions. Okay, so let's keep going. So first section's titled, Establish a Wellness Foundation. Begin creating a wellness plan by addressing the bioterrain. Boom, that's going to be like the essence of our entire 90-day program. It's very convenient that I wrote both. Just want you to know that, okay? All right. Begin creating a wellness plan by addressing the bioterrain that determines your overall health. Ensure essential nutrients and vital gut support are incorporated into your daily wellness habits. Start with a foundational wellness kit to provide core products at discounted bundle pricing. Although you may have priorities that seem elsewhere, without a true foundation of wellness, the results you desire can go unrealized. Anything you choose as wellness habits, from incorporating dietary and lifestyle changes to adding supplements and essential oils, will be far more effective when with an activated, nurtured, and responsive bioterrain. Okay, again, that's the essence of our belief system. So we show there the pyramid. We show step 1 with foundational wellness. We show step 2 with the targeted solutions. We identify that there's a little kit for that, etc. Then we have our ethos statement. Then we go down to section number 2, target your solutions. Next, customize your wellness plan with targeted solutions in the form of doTERRA specialty supplements and essential oils aimed at your health priorities. Use how you rated yourself in each area of the wellness lifestyle on page 3 as a guide for where to focus your efforts. For a deeper dive, take the wellness assessment. So if you remember, back here on page 3, super handy, we asked people these little boxes with this invitation said, rate yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you're doing in each of these areas? So that's a quick, so what did Rod say? Get people looking at their gaps, then show them that you have a solution. So everywhere you're seeing this dance of let's look at your gaps, then let's look at where we have solutions. So That happens right here in the guide to ensure it's somewhere. And then with that little QR code, doTERRA has a wellness assessment. It's very simple. There's about 3 questions, I believe, to each area of the pyramid. Very simple. And it's just meant to be a slight little wake-up call and get people thinking, I need better sleep. So if I'm a brand new wellness advocate and I don't know much, do I know what product we have for sleep? Yeah, I know we have Serenity. So if somebody's like, I'm stressed, Adaptive. I don't get enough sleep, Serenity, right? Okay, so I want to metabolize better. I want to move better. Okay, so it keeps it super simple. All right. And the wellness assessment doesn't make it really any more complicated. It just makes it slightly more detailed, but it's aiming to get the exact same result, which is you've rated yourself in the pyramid. It just helps you identify an area where you want to focus. Okay. Moving to the next paragraph. With your top priorities in mind, list the solutions that stand out to you from this guide in the space provided on the following page. So that's the plan page in step 1. Boom. So again, get them aware of what do they want to work on. Refer to pages 22 and 23 for top solutions for each of the lifestyle areas. Okay, so we're inviting them just to flip the page, and these are top solutions. So I can promise you with Alora's help, these are your top sellers with a couple exceptions. The emotional aromatherapy kit, it's not a top seller, and neither is the kids collection. Now, they're specialized categories. They don't sell as much as Terrazyme. Okay, Terrazyme is the number 12th or 13th highest selling product every month in doTERRA. Okay, now if I buy the emotional aromatherapy collection, how long is that going to last? Way longer than a bottle of Terrazyme that I'm taking anywhere from 2 to 6 a day, right? Same with the kids collection. They're going to last time. But do you see why they're here? But almost otherwise entirely, we went through every category. I wrote down a whole list of all the products that I thought should be in each category. We checked the sales on everything, and here you have it. These are your top sellers. So if you want to know what customers and consumers want to buy, boom. So what should you focus your conversations on? There you go. Kind of a nice no-brainer. All right, so we're back to our paragraph. We're telling them in step 1, write down things you want to work on. And then go to that other page, and then you can jot down solutions, right? So let's tie your priorities to your solutions. And then it says in step 2, add the items you want as part of your new daily plan. So right here, what have we written out here? We've written out an actual daily plan. So somebody knows how to use our products and how to use, some of our most basic things. We have stayed true here and clear back. So if I'm taking you back in time to the Hinsey team build, this is still Dr. Hill's daily habits. We have never, ever left that because he knew how to populate with that. Now, are there slight tweaks? Sure. We've changed some products out. We didn't have anything for metabolism in the past. He's actually the one who rewrote the pyramid, thank goodness. Because before, the bottom level used to say eat healthy. Last time I looked at my back office, I haven't sold any food. Although I could count greens as food, okay, right? But we don't sell food. So this is far more accurate than and the second level was exercise. I don't sell exercise either, okay? But I certainly want to help people move better and metabolize better. So this is far more accurate to what we're actually selling. And so small tweaks, but absolutely stayed entirely true to Dr. Hill's brilliance about how to live the doTERRA lifestyle. So again, we're over here on our wellness plan, and the plan is true to those products and how would you use them, okay? And then again, if you had to have a default program, you can't go wrong. All right, then it goes on to say, along with lifestyle considerations in step 3, so now there's just a quick mention, what are you going to change? You can drink more water, you're going to move more. Do you know the FDA is one of the things they're looking for in all the things is if all your claims are product only. But when you actually include lifestyle changes, it completely relaxes them. If you claim that your product does all the heavy lifting and you don't ever have to eat right to get well, they will call you out on that. And so that's one good part of the FDA, right? So it's very important that we have lifestyle in here because it's true. You should tweak it.
I've noticed the doTERRA website has whole pages that talk about lifestyle, and they may not even mention a product.
Yeah,
But they're
it's
educating
true.
the public on
Yeah.
lifestyle, which I think is fascinating.
And again, it's true. You should make adjustment. If you don't drink enough water, is there going to be some cost to that? If you don't move your body, is that going to be a problem? If you eat crummy food, is that going to be a problem? Right? So if you're doing wellness and we're advocating for it, we must have lifestyle. We need to look under that microscope. But at the same time, we're not asking our wellness advocates to become lifestyle coaches We're helping people like, what's your own awareness? Like, where do you think you want to make a tweak? Okay, last sentence we're in the middle of, along with the lifestyle consideration, step 3, jot down in step 4 the products you want to order each month as part of your 90-day plan. Okay, boom. Perfect system. All right, now beyond that, we already read the bottom of the page. Again, the bottom of the page was just defining our ethos. Now this looks really good, does it not?
So there's no more LLV and in here? And
Not in here, nope, no more LLV.
And Virage?
Virage is still there, it's just not a top seller, so we don't have that much real estate in here based on the design style. So it's not here because it doesn't sell that high. It's not a top seller. I use Virage products every day myself, but we just didn't feature it because we can only, it's too overwhelming to put every single product we have, so we went for top sellers.
Just a quick question on LLV.
Yes.
What I understood is that they're going to just move to the vegan version of the LLV, the VMG, because it's methylated, and use the new omegas.
So the shift
So
is
what's the
they've
shift?
never threatened to kill LLV. It's just a matter of like what sells. Okay, so right now the first step in the next direction is they are phasing out of Z omega with the X in front of it. That's all, XZ omega or Z omega, however you pronounce it. It's just an inferior product as far as literal quantity of omegas. It's not broken, it's not strong enough. So there's no need to keep selling it. Now within that product, there are a lot of us who love the astaxanthin that's in there, which is now in the VMG, and the carotenoids, of which we also have carotenoids in here. Okay, so we haven't, all is not lost. The ingredients that we love that are no longer in our E omega are in our VMG, just like alpha CRS. They moved the alpha CRS ingredients into VMG. And then our omega now, those big old pills are big enough because that's how much omega you need to consume a day. And the other one's not enough. So that one's being phased out. So we'll have one omega product no matter which of our bundles you choose to buy. For the VMZ Microplex, our vitamin and mineral old product, the original formula was created. So doTERRA is almost 17 years old. The product came out at the 16-year mark. So it was November. MTHR, Misty, were we talking about MTHFR back in 2008? The answer is emphatically no. So when doTERRA built their original complex, we weren't thinking about methylated vitamins or B vitamins in particular. And you know what's really cool is despite all those crazy statistics I gave you, is how many people still felt better on LLV. Now, to your point, we would have little disruptions, one in every so many people, but they would typically actually react to the alpha CRS, which had more to do with their liver. So the beautiful thing is even though we didn't have it all together because we didn't know any better, we still saw phenomenal results. So we know better today. So at some point, as inventory changes, they will phase out the VMZ non-vegan formula and they will go only to VMZ vegan because it has the methylated Bs. So if you know anyone right now, so I actually, this is very complicated, but people methylate at different rates. Women have a tendency to actually over-methylate their B vitamins, which is to kind of burn through them, and men have more of a tendency to under-methylate. You can actually tell emotionally. And so because of that, for any of those people who are like, I'm having that afternoon fatigue, then I'm just having them pop some extra Bs because I'm assuming that not only may they not be an MTHFR person and they're going through that initial fatigue and changes in their body, but they might also be, they're all women, then I'm giving them extra Bs in the afternoon if they would like. It's cheaper than an extra VMG packet, and I don't think they need all this stuff. So I pop 1 to 2 VMZ in the afternoon of the vegan formula. So it's kind of a hack for those who can think at that higher level, because with COMT and over and under methylation, because I'm learning about all those things, I'm just doing it. And I feel really good all day. And I'm not a great sleeper. I know you're like, Serenity. And I'm like, I know, I've tried it. But for me, my energy is really incredible all day long for a girl who's usually getting, last night I got 6 hours straight. So that was pretty good. But I couldn't fall asleep till 3 a.m. here because I'm not off my clock. Anyway, so that's extra over the top stuff. Okay, and then alpha CRS is still there. And I don't know how long it'll all last, but those will be the tweaks you'll see. So eventually we'll have VMZ vegan only, we'll have the new E omega only, and we'll have alpha CRS as long as they continue to keep. And the other thing is we're being very careful. Like there's still so much about LLV to love, and the rest of the world is still selling it. So we can't be despairing on a product that one blessed our market for almost 2 decades, and that's what they still have. Over time, they're going to move VMG and those formulas into markets wherever they can. But there's some markets that will never have what we have. Like I've heard in Russia, like they'll never get some of our supplements. We're super lucky here. We're super lucky. I saw one hand. Ted.
Since we've got the Terrazyme or the digestive enzymes in this, do you still need Terrazyme?
That's a really good question. The answer is yes.
You might repeat the question.
Yes. Okay. So Ted's question is, so little deep dive. We have so many commercial breaks in our conversation today, but these are all so important for those of us. You know, part of what happens when you're an existing wellness advocate and you're on your umpteenth whatever with doTERRA, you got to unlearn and relearn, right? So with this formula, there are 5 different blends within this product. Okay, one of them is called biotransformation. One of them is called bioavailability. Within the bioavailability blend, I can't wait for you to hear it on the class video. There are a multiplicity of things to help the person utilize what's in the box. Okay, within that are some enzymes. Corporate's official answer is the amount of enzymes in that product are designed to help you use this product. It's not enough to complement your digestive processes with your meals. Therefore, Terrazyme is still very much a player for those who want to bring in that additional digestive support. And in the class, we address that.
And
Okay.
Same goes for the probiotics or whatever.
The same goes for the probiotic, the number of species and strains and all the amazing things and the bacteriophages and all the craziness. It's a portion of that here. You're not going to get the blessed population that you want from PB Restore, so they're complementary. One is not meant to replace the other. Really great question. Thank you. All right, so we're still in our guide just to finish the tour. The rest of it is mostly as you would expect. Now, there was originally a bundle page on here that was showing people how to use customize and save. That's been removed. Okay, so we're not taking up a whole page. That's how we earned this real estate for this page. Because when you're printing, it's a 4-page number. You're either at 16 or you're at 20. There is no 17. Okay, so we gave up a page and chose not to keep that in the guide. So moving forward, then you have your typical stuff about loyalty rewards, which of course eventually we'll have to, at next printing, we'll have to change that. And then just the standard things that we've always had in here that help them stay in touch with those that are there to support them. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to take you into something that for people that I've been in the midst of and shared this, they said it's made sense of doTERRA in ways that doTERRA has never made sense to them. So we're going to look again at the bottom of page 20. I'd prefer you were looking at the Laura version simply because of the order of the bullet points. So I want you to again remind yourself. So somebody say out loud, what are our 4 bullet points? Number 1.
Foundational wellness.
Foundational wellness. Number 2. Targeted solutions. Number 3. Home and personal care. And number 4. Okay, now they are in this order for a very specific reason. So my apologies to the online people. I had meant to show the page 20 while we were talking, so forgive me that I forgot that. We are now going to go to the second page in your handout, and we are going to speak to that. So let me go to that point. And we're just about done with chapter 2 of our training. And then we'll step into the next phase. Okay. This is one of the most breakthrough moments for me ever in my 16 and a half year doTERRA career. And it was such a beautiful way that it evolved. So I'll take you back to the meeting I shared with you. We're at corporate. The ethos statement is born, wellness powered by essential oils. And as we discussed, we're like, who are we? What do we sell? And we had 3 categories. Number 1 category was foundational wellness. And this was the first time we were talking about this. We almost put foundational wellness in the ethos statement. And then we identified more than that. We can't have foundation because that's only a portion of what we're doing. So that was our first category. Our second category, we just called it informed self-care because all the stuff. And then we had home and personal care. So I left there so liberated by that awareness. And then I went to write page 20 in the Live Guide. And something dawned on me. wait a minute. Informed self-care is different than targeted solutions. And very importantly, this is going to be one of the most significant things you're going to grasp about your entire doTERRA offering. So I was explaining it to one of my leaders on the phone, and while we were talking, I started drawing on a PowerPoint slide. I was doing graphics and I started to play with it, and all of a sudden it was like the clouds parted, the heavens opened, and the light shined. Okay? And so now we've tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and played with it to get to this point. And what I realized when I got done is I actually had the wellness pyramid. And they're actually the same story. So if I'm a consumer and I'm trying to make buying decisions and you're coaching me, how do I know where I should spend my money? What's the order of things? What's the order of wellness business? So the first thing, if you can only do one thing, I would suggest to you that your foundational wellness is where you begin, always. Because if you don't have keys to the car, you don't have gas in it, you ain't going nowhere, okay? So this is, let's go somewhere, let's do something, let's perform, let's get the system going. Now there's one difference between all the doTERRA messaging and what I'm bringing to you in the 90-day program. And because this is my graphic, I've put it here. So I want you to look closely. It says foundational wellness, establish foundational wellness with essential nutrients and vital gut health support. Well, that's the same exact line I have in the Live Guide. ABCs of health include managing internal detoxification and cleansing. Oh, you mean pooping's on the bottom level? The answer is emphatically yes. So all these years, we've been doing cleanse and restore up here. And it's always felt a little off. Okay, so I'm going to separate those things for you in a different way. This line right here is an absolute foreshadowing of what you're going to be taught in the 90-day program. We're taking care of two things from day one. Now we're going to solve the MTHFR problem we left with. Now we're going to solve the problem of fatigue. Now we're going to solve the problem of the people finally getting some fuel for their liver and not thinking they feel well as a result of it. We have to address that, and we have to address it in level 1. So what are we doing in level 1? We're doing nutrition, essential nutrient, and then we're doing digestion. Now, when you hear the word digestion on the pyramid, I want you to think from here to here. We're talking front to back door, okay? That we have to be also detoxifying and cleansing. That deficiencies and toxicity have to be dealt with from day one. Now we're going to go back to the team who doesn't have retention. What's wrong with them? They're selling freaking VMG. They're selling E Omega. They're selling PB Restore. It's amazing. And they're selling collagen. But they aren't selling pooping. And it's a problem. And by the way, you don't poop just through your back door. You actually excrete waste in 4 ways. What are the other ways you excrete waste? The 4 obvious ways.
Skin.
Every day, every minute. Skin. What else?
Lungs.
Your chimneys, lungs. Pee. Thank you very much. Those are your 4 chimneys. Okay, those are the ones that have exits. And for women, you have a bonus chimney. Every month you menstruate, okay? And in the Hebrew world, that is, they see that as a very sacred detoxification where a woman cleanses herself of the things of the world, okay? So for women, we have 5 chimneys. For men, you have 4, okay? So those are everyday must-have detoxification
I
pathways.
just had an aha with a foundational title.
Yes.
Nutrition is front door, digestion is back door.
Well, digestion's the whole...
I know it is, but you gotta get it in then get it out.
Digestion
Yeah.
starts right here.
Yeah, but
Why do you think you see me
yeah.
chewing my omegas?
Yeah.
Because I have a genetic insufficiency for fat utilization. So I figure if I can get my saliva involved right out of the gates, it's really more carbohydrate oriented, but like everything I can do to make my body use fat better, I'm going to do it. Okay. So this right here, my friends, is so critical. But when you don't take care of the detoxification, it's why you're not getting 100% results. And the magic eraser is yet to come. Okay. So next level. So now that we've got our foundation, now we can start to look at, are there any areas where you would like to personalize your program? Guess what? This is an equal playing field. We all got to have nutrients and we all got to have gut health and we all got to eliminate. Nope. This category is no respecter of persons. Now, are there deeper portions of this that might be in trouble for a person where we might recommend a celery seed oil or more fiber? Yes, there are enhancements, but it's an equal playing field. Everybody has to have it, and that's why we can sell the same products to everyone. And I don't know if you understand what that's like to be able to have the level of experience that I have and actually sell the same thing to everyone. That is a very hard decision to come to, okay? So your products have to really hit the mark for the whole population in order to confidently say that. And again, when you come from a practice like Misty, because what we're doing here is we have to have something we can offer to the masses. We have to. And so doTERRA has perfected. Our probiotic is staggering. Our omegas are staggering, and our VMG is staggering. Staggering, okay?
Why people
So-
doesn't want to take it, or it's
They-
easy.
So now you've earned the right to customize your program. So let's go over here and look at what Laura's color coded as blue and yellow, and go over here and say, is it feasible to say to yourself, aren't most people just dealing with movement and metabolism, stress and rest as their top 4 things that they're always adding to their list of things to do? The answer is yes. So this is really cool how accurate this is, but I did add, so targeted solutions aim the powerful effects of specialty supplements and essential oils at top health priorities. Exactly what's written in the Live Guide. Underneath, movement, metabolism, rest, stress management, cellular, organ, and body systems function and health, emotional and mental wellness. So I added a few other things because I bet people go see Misty for their thyroid. But you see that a lot, right? So I know there's other more specified targets that people are trying to hit that I encapsulated in the second sentence, okay? So we're covering everything in general that I think people would see as targeted areas of support. Okay, now on top of that, this is really fun. Why is personal and home care next? Why? Why would I put that next? How often are you putting lotion on your body? How often are you putting deodorant under your arms? How often are you doing laundry? How often are you cleaning your house? How often are you taking care of your ankle that you tweaked when you hiked? How often are you taking care of a headache? How often are you taking care of digestive upset from the restaurant where you ate at and you got food poisoning? One is intermittent, one is daily. You have more impact on your health here than you do even what you're doing here. I just prioritized your laundry over how you handle a cut from a sheer toxicity standpoint. I would rather you spent your money on your laundry soap than I'm going to compete with you between Correct-X and Neosporin. Now, if you want to be like me and you want to be really cool, you are not going to have any of that crappy stuff on the top shelf of your medicine cabinet. There ain't no way you're using anything but natural for this.
Can I just add to that too? Because you guys saw that Red 3 was outlined.
Yes.
Yeah, Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 days ago. I didn't think I would have that in my house, but I was shocked. You know where I found it?
Where?
And over-the-counter medications that were left in my pantry, Tylenol had Red 3 in it.
Yeah, that's why it's a red pill.
Yeah,
has red dye in it.
Well, it was like one of the pretty red and blue, things in one of the, and it was the acetaminophen thing from Costco. It was the Kirtland acetaminophen bottle. The big giant bottle had Red 3 in it. Pepto-Bismol had it in it. I was like, what in the world? One of my kids had bought like the remember the sprays that you do, the chloroseptic sprays?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they bought a generic brand from like CVS or something like that. Had it in it. I was shocked. Of course, the other thing was like all the decorating things for cupcakes and gingerbread houses, like those like sprinkles and all of that, which actually nobody eats those. You just decorate that. Well, I guess some of the kids might, but anyway, but I was shocked. And I guess the reason I'm speaking up on it is just that it's in our medications, like the over-the-counter things. I think we are thinking about foods, but we're not realizing that drug companies are putting these food color. Like, why are they coloring our kids' cough syrup? Like, that is just insane. That you.
Why are they coloring Gatorade?
Yeah, exactly.
Powerade.
Yeah,
It's all
so
full
just
of
things
food
that
dye.
you don't think of to look. You might be surprised to go home and open up your Tylenol bottle and see if it's not the white capsule and you picked up a colored one.
Although the white one probably has titanium dioxide in it. Don't miss that.
I'm so disappointed.
Because they need it to look pretty, so you'll use it.
In the system that we are being poisoned in this way.
We are radically poisoned. So again, I prioritized exposure. Okay. So again, do I think everything should be natural? Come to my house. Welcome to a world where toxic things are not allowed. We just don't do it at our house. Okay. I've raised 5 kids naturally. It's so fun because I've raised my daughters to think this way, right? And then somebody asks for something like in the cupcake drawer or whatever. I literally have a door with like cookie cutters and sprinkles and stuff in it, and nobody ever uses it because we just don't eat that kind of stuff. And she goes and digs in there, and there was food coloring in there, and there was sprinkles. And I had actually found a natural food coloring, but they found the non-stuff because I got a chef, and from time to time I would be like, hello, where's the organic stuff? And then so I would miss it. So she found the sprinkles and she found the food coloring. We're both like, out of here, pitch it, right? This is all about exposure. So in every walk of life, you are exposing yourself to toxicity. But again, can I take you back to this pyramid that was released in our business in 2008? doTERRA had this. They put toxicity before in self-care themselves. So when I'm over here drawing this and playing with it, and I went back and looked at the pyramid, I'm like, go doTERRA, go Rob Young. This is Rob Young especially. So informed self-care is at the top because this is, look at the arrows. Okay, what do the arrows say? This is your lifestyle and this is your healthcare. So what I put in the image was bricklaying and firefighting. Okay, so this is our firefighting department. And you know what? So much of the time people come to our classes looking for this and this. Okay, I don't sleep well. I have migraines. My periods suck and I have tummy aches or whatever. A lot of times the tummy aches are really down in here. But I just want you to see that we have our offerings straight. Our priorities are in order. And we have answers and solutions to all of these things. We could actually do a better job of selling our home and personal care and really helping people understand exposure. Now, maybe it's not our first, second, or third month conversation, but it certainly is a wonderful opportunity once we get them squared up with the internal game that they're playing to really get them looking. So you're going to see in my language, and again, this is Live Guide straight up, reduce toxic load on and around you. I didn't say in you because I want you thinking cleanse and restore and all that kind of stuff clear down here. In you. Choose natural oral, sun, hair, skin, and home care. Exactly what it says in the Live Guide. And then lastly, informed self-care. Have natural solutions at your fingertips to put out fires and solve life's little urgencies. Straight up from the Live Guide. And it passed legal. Oh, so happy about that. Okay, so this, my friends, is our hierarchy of health. This is what we believe to be true in doTERRA. This is what we're offering the world. And when we're helping consumers make buying decisions and health decisions and budgetary decisions, this is how we're helping them build wellness. Now, am I gonna tell someone, no, you can't buy a fire extinguisher before you buy our vitamins? No. There's gonna be times where people are like, I have a fire, do you have something for that? And you're gonna be like, yes, I have an oil for that. I have a product for that. And maybe that's their introduction. I called it a paid sample program. But eventually I wanna invite you to bring everyone in when the order of things makes sense. And I'm suggesting that this is our introductory presentation, right, which we haven't seen yet. But I'm suggesting wherever you can, start here. That these are the classes you schedule. These are the presentations you give. These are the one-on-one formats you give. But that we have answers to all of these things, and you can meet people where they are. But do take the time to help them see the whole picture, because if you want to broaden their consumption with doTERRA, let them know we have solutions in all of these areas. Okay? Any thoughts or questions as we close up this portion of our time together today? Is this helpful? Okay, I want to hear from you what lights have gone on for you in seeing this.
I think
Yes.
it's just a mental redirect to where we're going, which is the steps kind of give you, I think, a ladder of classes that you would work with and direction and how to get people enrolled in the right fits that kind of fit that direction. I feel like it's brilliant. And like you said, you're going to be helping people solve those targeted situations just by starting at the bottom and working their way up.
Yes, absolutely. To Becky's point, do you not see then the unfoldment of your continuing education? Mm-hmm. So whether you're having classes and you're getting live or you're sending videos or you're posting on YouTube, there's so many ways today that we can educate customers, and they're all working. Facebook groups, you name it. There's so many methods that are working well. Your curriculum is really laid out for you. And there's such an opportunity to take people into deeper and broader exposures to how they can truly live a life of wellness. And so I would suggest, again, you discipline yourselves that in that one introductory class that you choose where you really want to have your start with people. Because in the 31 flavor world, one person over here wants to do sleep and this person wants to do mood, and all those things are great. But if you don't help this person with their gut, what are their chances for mental health? When 95% of serotonin is made in your gut. Do you see what I'm saying? So do them the favor of always helping them have that foundation so that every other effort, whatever it is, supplements, emotional processing, cognition, all the things will always be enhanced because they actually live in a vessel that can produce those results. Okay? So with that in mind,
If you have a natural break, we could let people just grab a little.
I do have a natural break.
Is it a natural break?
Yeah, this is perfect. Is this, what are we breaking for?
If everybody, so we do have it, are you hungry? Are you ready to eat something? Because we do have, I just pulled the homemade bread out and there's salads and we also have, some meats and cheeses so you can make a sandwich or crackers or chips or whatever. Just make a little plate and then come back down. So if you want something, y'all are looking at me.
I don't think they're terribly hungry. Is that what
Starting, I think we're just